her thing.
Hey everybody, welcome back to the Ravens Outpost. We've got Buck back in the house. How you do tonight, Buck?
I'm doing pretty well. Doing pretty well.
How's everybody out there? I see I've got Brandon here is here, Craig's here, Hoff is here, Ray is here. How's everybody doing? Hopefully some of the beefers over on Odyssey channel will slide on over here. That's cool. That's cool.
There we go. I have been pulling it up myself here. So I can see how dumb I look on stream. There we go. Yep. Wow, it's already popping off there. Pretty cool.
Oh yeah, hey Ray, I saw where he had a live stream going tonight. I was too busy throwing everything together. I'm gonna have to catch it later.
Hey there, Ray.
All right. Well, everybody knows that I've been talking about vibrational frequency and what it has to do with the paranormal. And, I got to thinking about it when, I don't know if you're familiar with who Ron Moorhead is or not, but he wrote a book called The Quantum Bigfoot. And he equated, quantum physics to, getting a better grasp on what the Sabe people are, the Forest folk, or what Sasquatch, whatever you want to call them. And I got to thinking about it. It makes sense, because of everything there's a claim to everything that they do. The telepathy, the portal conjuring, their teleportation and all that other stuff. Believe what you will. If there's a science to prove it, I think it's in the quantum field. And I got to thinking about it. Yeah. And you get to thinking about it, it's in everything. But I got to thinking about it. I said, when you're talking about frequencies, we've been using frequency to capture, spirit activity for years. Look at EMFs, electromagnetic field. That's a frequency. Using IR to see in the dark. That's a frequency. There's frequencies everywhere. And I'm like, well, maybe I'm onto something. And you got to saying something tonight about that video I showed you. And
Yes.
How you're studying, your theories about infrared and all like that. And I thought it was really cool, and I thought maybe you could share with everybody here.
Yeah, still looking into it personally, and through I guess university coursework I do. I started. I've always been interested, I guess, in these things, imaging. The different color bands, just in geographic interactive systems. Just been a fascination of mine going back, a decade now. And, getting into, I guess, my major geography and GIS, I've had to take a lot, the courses I've taken with wavelength, the spectrum, wavelength, all that stuff. It's so crazy how it's spanned because I took astronomy. We started learning about it. It's when I first kind of started picking this stuff up because I I guess I didn't really decide on my major until like last year. So In the meantime, I took a couple electives and took astronomy because I've always been fascinated with space, all that. And in that though, we started learning about the wavelength spectrums, and like I said earlier, spectral fingerprinting, which I shouldn't say fingerprinting, fingerprints. The chemical composition of atoms, things like that. And then I move on to I want to say, let me think. Moved on to um, I'm taking it now. Climate sciences is the latest one we've picked up on it, but also, my geographic interactive classes, intro to that, and then now the advanced course. It's been a whole lot of. Do we lose? Uh oh.
Oh no, I'm here. I just give you
Okay,
the
okay. I want to
solo.
make sure. I was like, whoa. I was like, I don't want to just keep talking and it just be for nothing.
No,
No.
no, you keep talking. Hey, if I
Yeah.
drop out, dude, it tends to happen because I tend to have
Okay.
these foobar moments on here. So you
Spook me.
just keep talking because it's
Keep
gold,
ranting.
man.
This is what I do anyways. When I'm by myself, I just ran and on, and I'm like, I'm my best audience. But no, so I've taken a few courses though in this and learned about it. And the more I learn about it, the more it fascinated me with my own kind of, I guess, off the whatever my personal research into like paranormal things or just things just a little bit extraordinary. Some theories I have about just, I guess, how we view space and time, the dimensions that we perceive, as well as the dimensions that may be out there, up to 10 of them they theorize. That's now kind of a fringe science that's not as balked at as crazy anymore. And that's the thing. The more our technology progresses, the more understanding we have of the universe, the more we discover, the more these kind of things will become, less balked at, less laughed at, and more in the forefront of like possibility, in the realm of possibilities. So, and within that wavelengths and the spectrum there greatly fascinate me. It's two of our sensory perceptors, whatever you want to call it, receptors, whatever you want to call it, that we have is audio and visual. And I think both of those play a big role in maybe explaining phenomena that we don't have an explanation for yet. And with infrared and near infrared, um, it's just very fascinating what it can pick up, because infrared's invisible to it's naked to the human eye, and or invisible to the naked human eye, whatever you want to call it, however you phrase it. Um, so and with land, like working with Landsat imagery, which land satellite imagery basically, uh, it's very cool because there's three color bands you'll work with. It's red, blue, green, or yeah, I think it's
Hmm.
red, blue, green. I'm gonna get
Hmm.
myself confused, so if I have to backtrack, please. But yeah, it's red, blue, green. And
Yep.
so with that though, like the green will pick up like vegetation, heavily forested areas, all that stuff will pick up red on the band, and show up red on your image because green reflects red, and then blue sometimes doesn't because water absorbs all light typically, so blue will show up as black, and then the red band oh my god, I'm trying to think. It's like right near infrared is right above that red band. So that's where we kind of pick up that visual for it, and we're able to see things, and that kind of bleeds into that red band a little bit. And so within that, I guess the best. I wish I had an image to show you now. I could find one, but with a satellite image, if you want to look for healthy vegetation, you'll look for red areas. And then say there's a lake or a body of water nearby, that'll be black or like a very deep, deep, deep blue, like navy blue, almost like a black blue. And so within that, though, we see things that we can't perceive with the human eye so much. Yes, you can look at areas, out in front of you, right before your eyes. Oh, yeah, that's healthy vegetation. But like overhead aerial shots, that's how it's viewed so that we can determine where these areas at. So within that, though, my kind of thought was, if we can pick up, you know, something that can reflect red, if we can start picking up and use this for near infrared and determine that, what else, much can this technology progress then that we can maybe start to perceive things that may or may not be there. And that's kind of the interest I have with like the portal theories and things like that. And even I don't want to get too far into it because I'll start getting crazy about the science of it, and also probably won't all the way be correct. But you know, dark matter, it may not exist solely in space. It may just be something we haven't been able to detect yet, because again, dark matter is something they haven't even really been able to detect. It's mostly theory. They theorize something has to be there in order to keep the planets from spinning off their gravitational axis. Well, that, or there's physics that we have yet to account for or understand, which will completely redefine physics as we understand it, which is that's almost crazier than the theory that there's dark matter, you know, and just butting up against everything. So it's super interesting though, like what else we have out there. And through that, like the Landsat's a little bit of a kind of a loose analogy, but to be able to pick up that near infrared there, to reflect things overhead, this aerial footage, this is advanced technology that mostly employed by like agencies like NASA, but it's an open source. A lot of it's open source that you could use. Otherwise, I wouldn't be able to do my assignments, obviously, because the university paying for that. But it's just very cool though, because it's like, how could we progress with that to detect other anomalies on our terrestrial, you know, plane here on Earth? So I don't know. It's just that's one of them. But like infrared being, you know, naked to the, you know, human eye, or we can't see it. I keep saying that, so I feel like I'm saying that phrase wrong. I don't know. I just want to keep saying naked. That's what it is. But no, you know, being able to perceive.
I think we're picking up what you're laying down, though, brother.
Sort of.
Hey, I want to interject here,
sure,
real quick.
ahead,
If you just hold that thought, because you know, there's so many people that's come here on the show that are skeptics. I mean, they like the show and they like to float around from podcast to podcast, and they test the waters. They want to see. I've seen so many people. Well, it's more conjecture, not enough evidence. And I say, there's evidence out there. You just got to get off your ass and look for it. And you're spouting science. You're spouting scientific fact. Is what I like to hear, because the science is out there, and the fact is a lot of people are ignorant to it. And usually those people who espouse to know this, that, and the third when they really don't. But right
and,
here,
you make a good point there. Yeah.
But Pyromedic says, I heard we can only see 1% of the light spectrum. Didn't sound right to me. How much of that is true that you know?
Well, I don't know if it's 1%. I haven't ever seen a percentage put on it. But the band of visible light is it's one of the smaller bands. Within that, like looking at just my, you know, info in front, that's why I'm looking down, because I will say on my exam though, I got this shit right. So, you know, good. I have that to back me up. Now, you know, we measure it in micrometers. So what we do is within that, the micrometers, you know, measurement, or microns, it's also called. That's what I was trying to think of, the other damn term. It's micrometers and microns. It's the same thing, which is funny to me, because I'm like, just say this, just one, just choose one, stop it. Like, but like visible light's only composed of like the wavelengths between 0.3 and 0.8 microns. So you're talking about a very, very small spectrum there of visible light. And I mean, it's honestly probably the smallest one. So 1%, I haven't seen it. I wouldn't be, if someone telling that doesn't sound incorrect though, doesn't sound off, because how much, you know, wide, you know, the length of the other bands, radio is quite, I would say it would be the biggest one, radio on the wavelengths, you know, and infrared's between I think 1 and 100 micrometers, but and then, you know, you go to visible, ultraviolet, X-rays, gamma rays, And yeah, in that, visible is like, you want to say, I don't know, radios. Let's just keep it in the screen here, if I can, sort of. It's about that.
Okay.
Then you take it down to infrared, and then you take it down to visible. So I mean, your 1% doesn't sound incorrect, to be honest. I've just never seen it put into percentage at all because it's measured in all these other crazy numbers that
Hmm.
incorporate a ton of math. But yeah, the visible spectrum, what we can see with visible light, is very, very tiny. And then, with infrared, it opens up a lot more the spectrum. But it's like, you know, and ultraviolet is a little bit. It's comes out. It's ultraviolet, visible, and infrared. Ultraviolet, I don't really know if it is what kind of what exactly it would hold, if anything. So far, I haven't seen anything at all. Even on, in the science realm, it is what it is. It's not something I've looked heavily into. It's more, I guess, infrared and the visible spectrum. But yeah, visible's not very big. So like what we're able to see is measured within zero point 0.3 to zero point 0.8 microns, whereas you're going to go up from there in infrared. And so it's just very interesting, if you get down to it, like, again, the wavelength, how it's measured, it can get kind of confusing, but it's extremely interesting, like how these things, like how tiny certain things are on these spectrums. Just it's something that's hard to wrap your mind around, actually. So it's really cool though. And within that though, I still think there's an interesting thing that, with these wavelengths, it's and how things are transmitted. I still think there's something, and again, with, what you talked about earlier, measuring, EVPs, just sounds in general. There's, to me, maybe, and this might just be opinion, I have always been more apt to consider the audio portions of evidence than I am visual. And
Hmm.
both can be faked. Both can be faked a lot easier than they've ever been able to fake them now. But something about, I don't know how, it just seems easy for me to kind of lend my credit, like some credibility to sounds, because it's like, or to the audio portion, because it's kind of like, and again, it's personal preference, I think, because I think people, the old saying, I don't believe it until I see it. Well, I mean, I don't really know if I believe it when I do see it. So, I mean, I don't know if I always believe it when I hear it, but I think that there's something there with just these wavelengths that can be kind of, things can be garnered from it. And radio is another one. It's a huge band, and I don't know if we've explored that fully, because I mean, this is something I've never really told anyone, but a lot of the reason I got into what I'm into now and studying what I'm studying and trying to kind of expand my knowledge on this and get even into the field of like geography, geomorphology, and all these things is because I do want answers, and I don't believe that it can all be so easily written off. I wanted to further my approach and try a different approach to actually proving or lending credibility, not so much proving, but lending credibility and opening a more honest discussion about phenomena that we do not understand, that we do not have an explanation for.
Hmm.
Just because we don't understand it doesn't mean it's, people are so dismissive now, and it's just, maybe they've always been, I don't know, but it's just maybe something, every time someone shows you something, until you can say this is this, or this is that, it's really like, okay, well, you're telling me this, I'll believe you at face value, that's fine. But I would like to be able to say, hey, yeah, you do have something here, or hey, you don't, and
Hmm.
it's okay. Who cares? Like, I mean, like I said, the best story I can recall when of my proving myself wrong, because I was very excitable about it, was seeing the amber reflection in something in a cemetery, thinking that's animal eyes. Well, go back the next day, because I'm very much like, hey, I'm not, I don't have a, I guess I don't have a healthy fear of anything, really. accept my own failures. No, I should have said my own successes. No,
Shit.
but I went I went back and I'm like, I want to know what that was. I want to know if I'm right. I can't just sit here and say, hey, I saw something scary, and holy shit, that was a whatever, insert here, anywhere from the Dover demon to a polar bear, whatever you want to say. But I wanted to go back and say, hey, I want to know if I was right. And I remember the spot, roundabout, and approximate area goal, and it ended up being a solar light that is just one of the very few in this place. And I realized that's absolutely what my flashlight hit. It had to be. There's no way, otherwise. I have to go with, this is right in front of me right now. I'm seeing this. It would have reflected dead on from that position where I was at to here. And it's just like, I was wrong. And I mean, I even had video of it and everything. And I'm like, holy shit, this is awesome. I think I got something. This is great. I know I got something. But then I'm like, but do you? And so I went back and it was nothing. It was a damn solar light. So
Right.
it sucks, but it is what it is. It's the truth.
Exactly. And that's
that's
what we're looking for.
what I am always after. And so I'm not looking to disprove anybody. I'm looking to just get the truth of it. It's not like someone says they heard or saw or experienced something, and I'm just like, no, you didn't. No, that's not it. It's more like we got to play We've got to play the objective, whatever here, devil's advocate. We have to, or else if someone else might do it for you, and they're not going to do it as nice. You have to check yourself before anyone else does, because they will. A lot of people out there love proving people wrong. They love it, and so love
yeah,
making someone
absolutely.
look the fool. So you have to be very careful with things and approach it with that kind of, not even a scientific, just an analytic, a logical, and say, before I say whoa, hey, this and that, and and that's the thing too. Not everything experience is not exactly something you can replicate. It's not a one-off event, not something you can replicate every time. So I take those with a grain of salt. I've had things too, but again, there's some things I've had that have happened that strike me as bizarre, and I can't exactly replicate to an exact whatever measure, but I can to a degree. I can at least go back to the area. I can at least go and, either the area or the place, visit it, kind of see what I feel multiple days in a row. If you want to go further than that, record it every time, record everything, the time of the day, everything, intervals, do whatever you need to do, but just try to approach it so that when someone else might eventually follow up on it or whatever, if someone's looking to just prove you wrong just for the hell of it, you say, I did all this though. And so guess what? You need to do all this too. So if you want to prove me wrong, you got to go the same damn distance I did. Have at it. But if you're just going to sit here and dismiss it right offhand, I don't care. I mean, it doesn't bother me because I know I did due diligence, whereas they're just, well, it's not true. Well, okay, good. Hey, guess what? 30 days. I sat here and did this, measured these results, blah, blah, blah. Do you want to do it too? If not, then just cool. But I mean, it's one of those things that, like I said, I definitely have an open mind, but there's a lot out there that can be explained if you look, for the explanation versus the fantastic. So
Right.
I think it's interesting with the infrared and such like that. It's very cool. I mean, that to me, that's the one thing, I'll be honest, seeing something like that. Oh, it's oh,
Uh-oh. Did I lose audio? Uh-oh. Oh no. And guys, can you guys hear me okay? Testing. Can you hear me all right? Yeah, Ray, trial and error. And Hoff, I don't think he doesn't have a YouTube channel that he does a whole lot with. Of course, he's got one to get on here, but can you guys hear me okay, though? Well, damn. Yeah, even when proven wrong, you learn from your mistakes. That's absolutely right. On here, more often than not, there's always some hiccup. Hey, hell, Wednesday it happened to me. I mean, shit. I don't have sound either. All right, I'm going to drop out. Be right back. Now you're upside down. There you go.
There we go. I got myself up right. Sorry, I got kicked out there because I was trying to look at something. That's my fault.
It's all good. This, I'm notorious for that stuff, man. Notorious for it.
They had, man. I'm telling you right now. I've told you I live in Louisville, Kentucky. They've got the tornado siren going off. Man, ain't no damn tornado. Quit it. Louisville is the most place I've ever lived. Well, I've only lived here, but I mean, I've visited so many states. This is the one place they don't panic over the little. I'm telling you right now, if there ever is an apocalypse or some shit, if it happens in Louisville, rest of y'all all screwed. Y'all all fucked because this city will not handle it well. We will fucking cause mayhem for the rest of y'all. Like y'all all gonna be sorry. So, but I mean, like I said, it goes for 2 minutes and it goes off. So what happened? Did strong gusts come through? Like I said, if a tornado ever kills me in this damn city, it was just God's will. And he was targeting me. He said, "You will, this son of a bitch. You talk shit about me, Phil. Talk shit about my tornadoes now." So I was trying to chat. I was like, "What is going on? Like it's barely raining. Come on, man. Like it is what it is. I mean, shit. I'm glad we ain't in charge of nothing national security related. Good God."
No, hell no. I know that. Hey, Hoffcast. That's how do we find Buck's channel?
I mean, just click on my name, but I don't really have much of one. I haven't really done too much, I guess. I mean, I just have my YouTube channel. I haven't put too much up on, and I guess I never considered anybody would really want to listen to anything I had to say most of the time. I mean, it's just
that's what I said too.
No, I mean, no. You had more. I mean, you was actually out in the field when I first found you and stuff. Like, looking around, and all that stuff. Me, I just kind of hiked and was like, and I'm a little less, I guess. I don't really know. I mean, but yeah, I've just I've got a few videos up and stuff. But you just click on my name here. I guess let me.
So yeah, everybody, me and Buck met when I was doing all my boots on the ground stuff, and he was, damp camper. I don't remember what my first name was. Shit, I mean, it was something else. I've changed that damn thing so many times now. It's just this one. There you go.
I always liked it because everybody else hated it. They were like, "What's that mean?" And I was like, "I don't know, shit. It sounds fucking funny, I guess." I don't know.
Damp
I mean,
camper.
Camping damp.
That's uncomfortable as shit, man.
That's what everybody said, and that's how I like it.
So yeah, I mean, we started talking back and forth, and next thing you know, we're meeting up on Facebook and doing FaceTime
chats like this.
Yeah,
sharing stuff and experiences. Because I mean, a lot of it was just I mean, a lot of your stuff, like I remember just being very. There was a, um, genuine nature to. I'm trying to think. There's something other than another word. I cannot think. It escapes me right now.
Somebody described it as raw. He said
Yeah,
They
the
said
sincerity.
your
That's what I'm
footage
trying.
is
Sincerity.
raw and sincere, and there's no jump cuts. There's none of that, and you know, that's what I'm trying to stay with. The intros are nice and all like that, but when it boils right down to it, I like to keep it simple. And when I have somebody on, it's two guys having a conversation, or three or four. So yeah, Mr. Lee, 3PO's in the house. Danny Staten is in the house. How's everything going? Give me shout outs to everybody.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, I've made a couple of things. I haven't touched it in a good while. I mean, I haven't made anything in a good while. I can get long winded by myself actually too. But and that's another thing about I think I've gotten a little bit better probably since I've made new videos. But that's the one thing I kind of I guess that I liked about you and everything too is that you did have sincerity to you, and a lot of them, and you weren't incendiary, and you weren't out saying anything too wild or just whatever. I feel like and this is just my personal whatever opinion on it is some people kind of tend to, and they do kind of want to monopolize certain things and at the expense of anything else. And it's I guess the thing with me too is it's never I just in everything in life, it's not a numbers game. I could care less if I've got two people on my side or 200. It does not matter to me because at the end of the day, I'm the only one that has to deal with that. Really, in my mind, I'm the only one. I have to deal with that. However I feel about whatever it is, I'm the one that deals with that. And so, it's nice to have more people on your side, absolutely, and to have, but it at the end of the day, though, whatever I feel inside or however, whatever I'm, turbulence or happy, whatever, it's something that's, I don't know how, I guess to phrase it, it's just, it's mine, I guess. So I don't know. I'm bad at selling myself too. God, I'm bad at selling my damn self.
Oh, me too, man.
And that's the thing that you have to do. And I just don't believe in that. If you don't want to buy it, don't buy it. I don't give a shit. I'm not selling it. You can't have it.
Exactly. So, I'm the same yesterday, today, and tomorrow. What you see is what you get.
Yeah.
And hey, I'm doing live streams. I'm putting myself out there. And here's the thing. Why do you want to lie to folks when you're in the public eye? Because the true you is going to come out sooner or later. So you might as well be you. Be you. And if that's not what people want, well, they'll move on. Yeah. And what you said about the amount of people, I absolutely, God, there's so many times I do a live stream and just like 3 or 4 people here just hanging out.
Yeah, there's only 2 YouTube, you and someone else I follow, and it's because both, you and he are very genuine people, and he does more with outdoors, wilderness, survival, like things like that, and just education on stuff like that. Lives up in New York, and it's just authentic. That's better. Not so much sincerity. You're both authentic, and he's his authentic self. Even though there was times I could say, "Oh shit, he's a little bit gruffer than even I would be," or not even gruffer, but more polarizing, because he doesn't care. He's not speaking to the people or trying to cater to every single person. It's like, this is how it is. This is a fact. If you can't accept a fact, I don't care. It's
Right.
not my problem.
Right.
And that's kind of what I can appreciate, because it's like, in a day and age, it's like how, the world is. Yeah, here's a fact. And that's why I like to be the objectivity of truth. And truth can be subjective to a degree, I guess. But
Mm-hmm.
like when I say truth, it's more proven. It's a proven thing through data, in correlative research. And so I guess I just, that's what
Boop.
that's what I mean when it happens every time to me. But like, that's what I mean. I even got my little fancy ass stupid stand thing here. But like, when I say that, all that, the truth, it that's what I kind of mean by it, I guess. And maybe it's a bad way of putting it, but when I say that, but that's what I mean by truth. Truth is it's fact. and
Mm-hmm.
and it's something that we've proven, and we all kind of, a good majority, at least not everybody, but a good majority have agreed on again and again and again. And so, because, and that's what I think people kind of have gotten a little bit confused, is sometimes I'll hear, well, that's my truth. That's your opinion. There's a
Mm-hmm.
difference.
Yeah.
When that's my truth, that's fine. That sounds very, I think people say it in order to sound more definitive, sound more like strong behind their blah, blah, blah. Like if I say this is my truth, people kind of have to accept it. It makes me sound like I'm very like assured. And it's like, I could care less. That's your truth. That's your opinion. Every time I hear that, that's what I
Mm-hmm.
say. It's your opinion.
That's
And
exactly
so,
right.
that's why I say it's my personal preference or my personal opinion, because I don't have a personal truth really. No, I just don't. It's all opinion if it comes from me on certain things, and that's why I like to specify. But not to digress too much, but you know, and that's the thing. Like that's why I try to watch myself, because a lot of my personal opinion might be a little bit more inflammatory than most, and that's why I hold back
Mm-hmm.
on a lot of things, because I don't want to offend anyone. And a lot of my stuff is usually just based on observe what I've observed, kind of just traits I've observed sometimes, and they're just traits I don't find that are agreeable with me. So it's probably why I haven't done more videos, because I mean I'd probably go off on too many damn tangents and be a dick, and that's just not what I think. We got enough of that in the world. I didn't think I needed to lend my dickishness to it. So,
Right. Right.
but
Yeah. I
yeah,
mean,
I mean, social media too. I just don't really. I mean, I got one of them damn. I got a Facebook still. I was gonna say I got one of those damn Facebooks. Come on, don't do that, John. But like, see, catches. I have to catch myself. But I have one of those, and then I have Instagram, and all that is just a bunch of art. My personal, me doing art, and then my little dog. So I mean, I try to keep that light and fun too most of the time. Uh,
yeah.
because like I
Trying
said, I
to.
mean, we all get lost in that thing where our opinion is such, it's so divisive, and we just, I don't know, I just would rather everybody kind of say, yeah, okay, and because ignorance is not stupidity. Ignorance is just the absence of knowing, and you know, or having the experience. At least that's kind of how I define it, I suppose. So, and I think a lot of people, when you hear, if you call, and I try not to call anybody ignorant, I just typically try to say you don't. I don't know, or you don't know, or you haven't experienced that, or I haven't experienced it. We don't have the
Mm-hmm.
perspective, if you will. So, and that's the thing. Being wrong is okay. Like I just put with my analogy, or whatever you want to call it, with the solar light, I was wrong. It's dead wrong. And had I put that out there, yeah, it could have made me look like something. I could have caused a big like, oh hey, look what I found, and
Mm-hmm.
look at all the look, boo boo boo. And who's to say if luck or whatever the fates are that pick up some certain things and make them big sensations and blah blah blah, all that stuff. I don't know if it would have done that or not, but if I had even attempted that personally, I would have stopped feeling the border between ignorant and stupid. That's it right there. I would have been stupid, because it would have been when I did know better, when I didn't do better. And so, you know, that's just how I look at it, I guess. And, that's what I mean. Like with my own experiences, I have a ton of them. And hell, I just had one this month. But it's hard for me to say that's definitively this or this or this. I'm also not afraid to share them, because I just don't care if you people don't believe. It's okay. I don't care. Don't have to. You weren't there. I don't know. You might not believe yours. I don't know.
That's
I
that's
mean,
exactly it, man. Because I'm here to tell you that you get so many people out here who want to suck the life out of everything.
yeah,
They want to overanalyze things, and when it comes right down to it, hey, this is what happened to them. This is what's keeping them up at night, and this is what's bothering them. I want them to come here and feel safe about doing that. Now, I'm here to tell you, you've heard a lot of my previous videos, man. You know I fucking hate censorship. I hate it. But when it comes down to if somebody shows up here and starts messing with my clan, my tribe here, they're done. I'm kicking them.
yeah. I mean, yeah, it should be okay
can
with. I mean,
you
and that's okay. That's the thing. You don't have. That's what everybody is. Another thing too, and this might sound a little like contradictory, but like we also don't have to accept everything either. We
right,
don't have to say, "Oh, you have an opinion; it's valid." Again, opinions are
right,
not actually a valid form of anything, man.
exactly,
If I don't
exactly,
agree with you and you continue to press you and press and press and press, fuck off, for lack of a better term. Get out. Don't make me
right,
mad. It ain't gonna be pretty because I'm gonna make myself a living hell for you. I will. I can be a very petty individual if need be. Um, I just don't ever find the need, really. I mean, no, I've not had anybody press anything probably since I was a damn kid. So I appreciate that too. Like, because I don't try to press anything. Like, I mean, I'm not trying to validate my existence through the opinions of others, nor should
mm-hmm,
anybody. Like, um, that's how we get into a lot of trouble, and that's where I think a lot of these number games come in. Um, and that's what's so bizarre to me. I just don't. That's sometimes the whole how YouTube, it's how things have gotten. That's where I sometimes wonder if we've gotten away from you know the sake the quest for knowledge and self improvement, whatever you call it, because everybody is chasing like I got to beat this person because they've got 500 and I've got 450 or this and that, and
right,
so it becomes like a numbers game. Whereas like and everyone's like and that's another thing I always liked about you. I, damn, I loved it about you actually. You didn't tell me to like and subscribe. I don't need to be told how to use the fucking internet. I don't need to be told how to use a website. Do not pander. Don't do that shit. It's stupid. And I don't like
yep,
it. And I'm sorry, but that's one thing I will vocalize. I hate that shit. I don't
mm-hmm,
need to be told how. It's like telling
mm-hmm,
me how to check my voicemail on my phone. I know how to check it. I often don't because I don't want to. That's the thing. I know that you left a message. I'm deleting it because I don't want to hear it. It's like, I mean, I made a choice. And so we can all do
exactly,
that. We all know
exactly.
how YouTube works. Like, I mean, it's just like, that's so weird. I don't get it. I don't really understand that whole thing either. It's almost like a script thing for a lot of people.
I really,
And I don't get it.
dude, I did do that maybe once or twice. You might catch that in maybe one or two videos, and it's my earlier videos, and I'll still get my feet wet, and I'm like, oh my god, yeah, that's what we're talking about now. Yeah, didn't we just
What?
have this conversation? Ray is what she says. She
Oh,
said,
what
didn't
about
we
the one
just?
person? Well, that's what I mean. It's not some, oh, you guys did. Okay. Okay. I was like, for a
Yeah,
minute, okay. I see what you're
yeah,
saying. Yeah.
because me and Ray talk all the time.
Okay. I see what you're saying. Yeah. I
Like
was like,
it's
for a
like
minute, I was like, wait a minute. I thought
that's another Lee and Buck situation there.
But yeah, that's the thing. Like it is. It's like when that kind of thing starts, when people do that, with the truth, yeah, that's kind of like those. Like I said, what I just talked about, everything. Most people agree on it's replicable. Blah blah blah. It's an agreed upon fact. And then, but when people say they have truths and stuff like that, and it's really their opinions and stuff, that's where you start to get kind of like yes men and the echo
Mm-hmm.
chambers where everybody's agreeing on everything constantly and just reinforcing the other person's beliefs and blah blah blah, their opinions, and then that becomes like, oh, this is a fact, and it's like it's not, and that's how we can get into trouble, and that's how you can get into a lot of very dangerous sects of humanity and
Mm-hmm.
poisonous sects even of humanity. So I just, yeah, that's why I'm very, there's just, I don't like labels inherently, because I do believe they have pigeonholed so much of our society. But
They do.
that's where it starts to, I have to start looking at it. Like, if someone's starting to say some of these certain phrases and terms, I get a little bit cautious, because I'm like, I don't know what exactly you're trying to get at and what you're trying to convince me of, because it's kind of like, okay, it feels scary sometimes, because like I said, those sects of things, like where it's like it can get into kind of cult mentalities um, and just in crazy shit. And so, I just try to, but yeah, I agree. With I can agree with people, but and either sometimes I like them, sometimes I don't. And that's the hard thing too with a lot of just anything in life. Paranormal. There's a lot of people I do not. I have heard say things, and I'm like, shit. I agree with that. Oh my god, but I don't like you. You're such a dick. Oh my god, I can't stand your ass. But like,
Right.
you're right. You're kind of right. You're onto something there. And, you son of a bitch, though. Like, a broken clock is right twice a day. What would? I guess it might be 3 sometimes. No, but that makes sense. But it's just, it's one of those things that there's people I have not liked. I have defended even to others, because I'm like, no, they're not off. They've been off other times, I feel like, maybe, or I've just not agreed with them. Who am I to say that they're off on anything? I just don't agree with them, and or they've said whatever. But this time they're right, because it's like inherently, I don't think that there's been so many people in this world. Again, there's been a few, but there's not everybody, not every human. You can't sit here and say just because there's good, not even good, there's redeemable traits to every person. I think there are traits that are human that you can agree with. Everybody, if you're human, you have traits of the human condition. So even if you feel like, good examples, serial killer that likes your favorite show, just because they're, you both like the same show doesn't mean you are synonymous with everything else. Like, that doesn't mean you have to stop liking that. It's just, there are things that all make us human. And so I think there are some traits you can find within someone that you can kind of recognize as human. It's not even maybe redeemable, I'm getting at, but there's just always something to people that kind of makes them human there for a bit, even if they're not. And so with people that you don't agree with, that, whatever, there are things that you may find yourself agreeing upon, and you might agree on more than you think, actually, too, because maybe you just haven't gotten their side of things completely. I mean, not to go too far off on whatever, but I'm just trying to get at, like, I try to remain objective like that, to try to always see something in everybody, I guess, that says something just went, awry or whatever, or, you have this stance and I have this one, but, oh, wow, it met in the middle for once. Not bad. So, like, kind of cool. I mean, if I was always on the other side of something, man, I mean, that's kind of I feel like that's almost just being stubborn for the sake of it and not wanting to see the other side, because you are on that one and you're just like, I refuse, and I will not be,
Dude, I see so much of that. I see so much of that.
Yeah.
I see so much of that.
Yeah, and so, with the paranormal and everything and supernatural phenomena, it's just, bringing science to it and such like that. And I mean, that's why I did that. Bringing science and such with that, like, it's it's not so much saying that this stuff is blah 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 or this and that, but it's more saying, hey, if you want validity and you want to whatever, this is kind of the way we have to go about it, because science is a proven entity. Usually, it's not. I mean, that's the thing. It's not, science is theory, but at the same time, it's a theory that has been replicated and replicated and replicated and replicated, and it's like, okay, I guess if this keeps happening, it kind of has to be a fact,
right?
And so, that's where phenomena, that's where you have to keep whatever. And that's the thing. There are commonalities to everybody. Like
Mm-hmm.
there's a lot of commonalities if you look and you really not so much look for them, but if you can admit that this seems kind of similar. And that's the thing. That's the thing that really always fascinated me too. Either everyone over the course of history has been going off the someone else and making this stuff up, and we've done it for centuries, and it's the most I'm trying to think the most long-standing oh god, what is that? Oh my god, the word escapes me, damn it. uh Not, oh my god, I'll get it in a minute. But it's gonna drive me. It's a very simple one too. That's what's making me mad. Um, it's either the most agreed upon thing we've ever done. If we didn't really know about, I guess, sort of, but like it's just the most common thing we've ever done, I guess, as a human race that we could all like come together on, or it's all been and fabricated is what I'm getting at. So, or there's something to it. And I did really
Mm-hmm.
bad with just explaining that, but like that's what I'm getting at. Like it's either a very agreed upon fabrication over however long, or there's validity to some of this stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And not every tale is the exact same. There's commonalities. Just like if we
Right.
were to all see, if you, how many zoos I don't even know are through the country, in the United States. If at every zoo there is, an elephant, well, you go up to the elephant, you see the damn elephant, blah, 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 or you walk through the whole zoo. Not everything's going to have the same stuff, but there's going to be a shared experience there of like, I saw the zebra and it looked like this, or it walked like this, blah, blah, blah. And yes, these are proven animals, but at the same time, that's what I'm getting at a little bit with the unproven, that there are some similarities in all of these kind of experiences people have, and things, even if they're anecdotal, there's still some stuff to be garnered from it. And I don't know what I don't know what you really do with that. That's the paradox of it, sort of. Either it's all been fabricated and we've all been telling stories this whole damn time, and I have even mistaken normal things. Every weird experience I had an explanation. I didn't see it. I didn't have the knowledge, and I wrote it off as this, and it's boils down to it's a fabrication. And then you go and say that for every single other person who's ever had one over time. Okay, you just got something confused, but I don't think that's it. Can't be.
Mm-mm.
It just
Nope.
seems too easy, and that's the thing. It seems like even on the other side, the scientific side of it, and I understand why, because you'd be laughed out of the, like, a lot of people wouldn't be able to, you know, it's twofold. The scientific community wouldn't take you serious because they're like, we're over here studying, whatever the alignment of the planet, or whatever you want to call it, the alignment of the stars, blah blah blah. And you're over here trying to prove there's a big hairy gorilla running around the Pacific Northwest. Now, what are you doing again? And it's like, so that's what they would kind of do with you. And you're like,
Mm-hmm.
no, never mind. What are you guys doing again? It's like, I'll join that. And or and so that's kind of the problem they have, is they don't want to, lend validity, because it would make you look kind of like, I guess, goofy. Whereas I don't think that's the case. Like, it's kind of like, why can't you explore that? I mean, how many damn studies can you do about, like, and again, this is something I am into and taking class on. There's a lot you can do on this still in different areas, I think, but there's certain, things with climate change, like how many times can you say the CO2 levels are this from this? Yes, of course, we get it. We fucking get it. It's happening there. Look at some other shit for once, man. It's like, that's what I'm kind of getting at. Even the scientific community, they're not always the most kind of being genuine about certain things. Like, it's kind of easy to fall
Right.
back on their laurels. So,
Mm-hmm.
and I mean, they kind of have to be able to be more open-minded too. And that's where I would like to be able to bridge that gap and say, I believe in this thing that you think is goofy, but like, also, I think you've done enough damn studies on the same thing over and over and over ad nauseum. So, like, cool. Like, I mean, I can have two trains of thought.
Exactly.
And And I mean, especially, I don't know. It's just it's. I have my beliefs and all that stuff, sustainable develop, all that crap. I have my beliefs. I sometimes don't share them with that those people either because they don't want to hear my approach to it, and I also don't have any. I'll be honest. I don't have much of a better plan sometimes than anybody else. I don't pretend I do either. I think everybody. That's the thing in a community. If you really want it to build and grow, and have a sense of community, well, you're not doing that for the individual. You're doing that for the whole. You're doing that to leave something,
Mm-hmm.
to say, I put this brick in the structure, or I put this doorknob, or I even put this door frame. I mean, you're trying to build a foundation for the whole. And a lot of people are in a lot of facets, not just this, community, or whatever, this subject topic or whatever, people want to have their name etched into the brick. They want their name above the door. And it's like, I'm glad you thought you were that important. Cool. Because typically, I don't give a shit what it is. It's called the, I mean, you can say this place is the blah, blah, blah observatory. Man, it's the damn place you can go see the constellations in the ceiling when whatever place. I don't know. I mean, this is where the telescope's at. I don't know. I ain't calling it the whole damn name. I don't care. Like, that
Right.
doesn't matter. It's just, and that's what I mean. Like, we should have a sense of openness, and I want to share this, and I don't want to profit or get clout from. And so, and that's the thing, like somebody far smarter than me, definitely can, I would hope is somewhere, maybe not voicing their opinion as much, but saying there's something to infrared, there's something to frequencies and, the vibrations. And
Mm-hmm.
I would really, really be fascinated with somebody exploring a little bit more in depth frequencies and vibrations, because I think there is so much more to that than we think. And I don't understand why I have that idea, but it's something I kind of started coming up with just this last year. Something about, I don't know, man. I feel like we have done a whole lot of other things with sound. Like I said, like when someone goes into, do a, to investigate the paranormal, the first thing really we try to do, or at least what I've noticed anyways, and again, what other some people really pointed out, I'm fine. I know we try to capture video, but like more audio is captured. And maybe that's easier because it's like, I heard a spooky noise and you weren't there, so I could have done that when you weren't, you couldn't have seen it anyway.
Most of the evidence that if you want to call it that I've captured on video is audio. I mean, you can't see it, but by God, you can hear it. I have to crank it up, but you can hear it, like the wood knocks and the tree being pushed over on me and other strangeness out there. And it's all audio. God, I'd love to get some video, but, it is what it is. But whenever they do paranormal investigation, first thing they do is put down a tricorder, a freaking multi-directional 360 digital recorder to pick up some EVPs. That's the first thing they do.
Yeah.
They get the sound. Most of everything they capture is in sound. 2/3 of it is sound. Maybe 1/3 of it, if that, is visual. You might see something move or something like that. But I'm going to use that and what we were talking about previously. I'd like to share a video with you if you don't mind, and everybody else.
Sure.
You cool?
Yeah.
Okay. Let's see. This right here is the business I was telling you about earlier, right? There's the audio is off. We really don't need the audio, so let's take a look at this. And you'll see something come out from, if you can see my cursor. Can you see my cursor?
Yeah.
Okay, you'll see something come out from over here in this area. Yep, that's Chrissy's. Look, you see right here? Okay. There we go. And they're moving around of their own volition. There's no reflective surface in here other than what you can see up here in these recessed lights. Now, pay real close attention to what happens when they get over here next to the door. Now, Chrissy and her boyfriend, Rusty, they will show up here. It's just walking around the room. Now, here they come. Watch how these two balls of light react. They go from very bright to very dim and moving away.
They don't. My thing is, I'm sorry. That's why I was watching on my actual laptop screen because I got the live up because I want to see it a little bit larger than just the.
Mm-hmm.
There's a couple things strike me as, like I said, the obvious thing when I see something like this or the most whatever. There's two trains of thought, or whatever hit me right away. It's either these people. It's either these people fake this, and they're whatever, or this is genuine. And so, you see what I'm saying? Because it's that. I'll get to why I say that, and I'm not actually accusing you. I'm saying there's two trains of thought, because this is very bizarre, because this does not interact with the environment so much, and when it goes over towards the darker, the doorway or whatever, the dark doorway. I don't know if that's just a vacant doorway or if it's a closed door. Doesn't matter. The black space. Yes, that.
That's a bathroom.
Okay. Yeah. So, but up against the silhouette there, and I mean, I could take this video and run it through software. I'm not the best at that. I'm okay. I just with my, what I used to do a while back. This doesn't interact with anything, though. That's the really bizarre thing. That's why I said there's either two. They either fake this and they're really good at this, or this is genuine.
Well,
to me, it's genuine.
So
and
right here,
it's crazy.
Right here, I'm going to back this up just a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
You can see the orbs. You see whatever it is right here. Okay, and it's right behind her.
No shit.
give you a little context. Where this camera, Chrissy here is watching everything. She's got an app on her phone. She's watching everything that's going on in here. She can see it all, and she can see herself, and she can see this. Now watch. She says, "Oh, it's behind me."
This is fucking weird. And
Watch.
this kind of, you know what? Okay.
You see when she's, watch again. She reaches out and it moves away from her.
It goes over. It goes over top, kind of. Oh, but when you say that app thing, that's kind of it's probably kind of akin, depending on what model they have, to what my mother has for her outside. This looks better video quality, but it's also whole different. Theirs is outside and stuff. But what I'm getting at is, it's even harder to fake. To me, it's like, how would you fake that then? Because that's like, that stuff is not advanced enough to be able to fake actually, like something this well. Because like I said, when it goes over the doorway, if you're doing a light or you're whatever, if you're just computer generated, but if say that someone's just doing a light over top of this stuff or whatever to try to, it just doesn't interact with the environment at all. Not, so it's not a light someone's shining. It's not an optical effect that's being done manually so much.
Exactly.
And to fake this, it also, why would you fake it? It doesn't really, there's so many videos like this. You're not going to go anywhere really. Like all you're going to do is get you yanked for a TV program that they're not even going to give you any credit for. So I mean, it's just, it doesn't interact with anything, and it's just so crazy how it kind of hovers around. I mean, so this is very bizarre, and
Ain't it? Okay.
yeah,
You see, when Rusty turns the light on, it disappears. And she's still watching it on her. She's still watching for it. And see if you can see it anywhere. I mean, I can't.
I don't see any trace of it on either my phone screen or laptop screen. I don't see a trace of those.
Right. Now the IR kicks back on. Boom. It was right at... All right, let's stop this for just a second. Rusty's here.
I saw. Huh.
Now he moves away.
Yeah, when he was right there, it kind of showed back up, right?
Right here. And then it just disappears.
Yeah, I see it right. Yeah. I mean,
It likes this chair. I don't know what it is about this chair.
well,
But
it's almost like, is it following their pattern, like any kind of pattern for them, or like, is it following them at all in any regard? I mean, I can't really. It's almost like it's avoiding, but it's not.
it's almost, I get the impression that it's curious. You know, the way it interacts with them. When it moved over to the door, with the audio, you can hear Chrissy and Rusty coming to the door, and it moves toward the door, and then when Rusty comes in, it's like, whoa, and backs up.
Yeah.
And it's all around Chrissy, but when she says, it's right in front of me, and she reaches out to touch it, and it moves away from her. It's some crazy stuff, man.
Now, did it go behind her at some point? Like, it kind of disappeared behind her, or just from the view? But then it was also, like, at another time over top of her. It almost looked like.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I mean, that's one of those things. It's like, it's very much like Lynn's. Like, there's something that was going on there. It was very strange. I don't know how to explain it, or I can't explain it really. And that's where it's not even so much you see. That's the thing. I shouldn't say I don't start trying to explain it either. I started asking questions just about, like, what, what's the history, what's the location, what's the just the rundown of stuff, like trying to figure out if there's something that could have caused residual energy building from. I don't know. So it's just, interesting as far as, like, what the possibilities are. And again, this is where technology kind of comes into play and picks up on these things. And it's almost, things like this have always been perplexing, because I just don't understand what they could be, or what they symbolize, or what they're derived from, even like orbs, just floating orbs. Like, is it residual energy? What is it? I mean, is it some kind of beacon almost, or something that's even searching, like a sense, like what we would create in our world as a sensor or something, like a that kind of scans the environment, that's kind of almost like a scouting, like a device, I guess, almost, that's just we're completely unfamiliar with in our realm of existence. I mean, I don't know, like I don't know, because it's almost like that's what kind of would be cool, I guess, an idea. Like it's like something that's a, a tool almost of something else that kind of scans or swarms through an environment just to pick up data almost or information or acts as like a viewing device, like almost like a like I said, like a scout that can feed back information. I don't know. It could be residual energy. It's a whole lot of things. Just because we don't, there's no way to explain it. So,
Well,
and
I've
I don't
gotten
know.
I've gotten to know Chrissy pretty well over the last couple of months. I mean, we talk back and forth, and it's just she's got her own channel. She does her own thing here on YouTube. The name of her channel is TerraTuber Chrissy. She does, readings and all like that, but she's got her own business. Now that where that was at, that's in her place of business, and it's causing problems.
Okay. Okay. I have a few interesting.
We talked about this, you and I, earlier today when we were talking about renovations and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
Things really started amping up when they started renovating that place and shaping it up. Now there's a this it's a building built around another building.
Okay.
This is old. This is the one. This is a place in Kentucky I was telling you about. So this she's had so much problems there, man. I'm gonna play you one thing. She hasn't
I'm sorry.
shown it.
Did you say she's in Kentucky?
She's in Kentucky. Mm-hmm.
You didn't gotta tell me where. What the like the directional? Like, is it more towards the southwestern portion, the eastern portion, or like where? No, I wouldn't think it's near my. I mean, technically, I guess you would call. I don't know what you would call my area, the Louisville Lexington area, is kind of what it's referred to. But like southwest is towards like where Bowling Green LBL's at.
Mm-hmm.
Eastern Kentucky is just a huge portion of the. I mean, I'm not. As
She's on the western. She's on the western side of Kentucky. That
Okay,
much I know.
that gives me that's yeah. I mean, without giving any specific, because I mean, I
Right.
never know.
And
It's
I
like
don't see. I don't know where she lives specifically, and I haven't asked her because I want that. I want her to maintain that. At
yes,
least
yeah,
that much anonymity. I'll
yeah.
get it
It's
out in a
one of
minute.
those. Yeah, I can't say that one. That's just, but that and that's the thing too. It actually doesn't matter all the time. I guess I should say. It's more just I guess it's my geographic mind because I like to be able to segment and compartmentalize. But most of my experiences, actually, the creepiest ones have been in this. I guess in the city limits of Louisville, a pretty good sized city with several different geographical areas. Actually, it's the one city I feel like has no identity, but every subsection has its own identity. And I would break
Do
it up into 5 or 6. So it's a weird, but I've had most of my weird experiences within one
she lives?
portion.
She lives in town. That place is in town.
Yes. So yeah,
In
yeah. See,
town, and
that's what.
she has customers coming out of her place of business constantly, and she's gonna do a story her own.
Mhm.
Which she's been having technical difficulties here lately. She's had a hell of a time, bless her heart. I love Chrissy to death. Um,
Has it?
and
When did this activity start? Then you said during remodeling. How long has she been putting up with it?
it's
Like,
it's been a few months.
oh,
It's
just
been a few
months.
months.
Okay. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
like
So
like we talked about, yeah. And again, I don't think it's always I use remodeling renovations because I've experienced one of the worst, I guess, if you had to say, haunting poltergeist activity I've ever experienced was after a flood in a tri level in the lowest level where my room was at the time, which was like 17 years 17 years ago now. And that was definitely the worst one I've ever experienced, and it was after remodeling and renovation to that, and ripping up the old tile through that whole area and putting down carpet and all that stuff. Um, it was absolutely the worst I've ever experienced, and I think it's that's a segment of it, renovations, remodeling, but I think alterations, changes, to an environment of any kind. Like I said, not speaking in the ecological sense of environment, but the environment that's
Hmm.
around you, whatever you reside in, or places, whatever you want to call it. I think changes, human encroachment, anthropogenic changes, especially human intervention. I think that has stirred something up,
Hmm.
and that's why I look at the phenomena again. Another theory of mine. I kind of wonder if this was something that was. It's not what we think it is, and we have disturbed or stirred something that was always here, but we've gone too far in a certain regard. And this
So,
is now a little bit angry with us in a way, or it's starting to take note of us, like saying, okay, there's they are altering far beyond what their means or what we thought their means were, and it's continued and continued and continued. And so again, that's why I kind of wonder if the orb things are like a scouting device to pick up detailed information to document this. Because again, this is I don't know. It's just a theory that's kind of fun. I like it. And
I've actually, she showed me more stuff that she hasn't posted on her YouTube channel,
yeah,
and there is one where I have one that I'm going to show everybody, but she's got a lot more. I would I would say things are getting worse there.
hmm.
And you saw there were two balls of light,
Yes.
and they were traveling right there together. Now I will show you one more thing.
Hmm. I don't know.
Let's play that one more time. Can you see it? It's a really short clip.
Mm-hmm. Play it one more time for me, please.
Yeah,
Curvature makes no sense.
I know. But you look and see there are four now,
It
and you
doesn't
can
seem. Yeah, yeah. It doesn't seem like the luminosity changes either against different backgrounds. That's what I was kind of looking at, because it almost
right.
looked like maybe it kind of did, but it doesn't really seem like it does. But that curvature to the kind of the wide out. I mean, that's the reason it came. So it comes from off. It comes from kind of the side there.
Mm-hmm.
It bizarrely looks.
And you see that back wall with the
Doesn't.
painting?
Yes, yes, yes.
Behind that wall is a stairwell that's been blocked off that leads up to a third floor that you can't get to but by that. And it constantly is gravitating toward that wall.
Yeah, I was gonna say it follows a similar pattern to the last video a little bit. As far
Mm-hmm.
as it kind of has a sashaying kind of thing back and forth through that one area. What it where it comes off camera though. What I mean, is that a wall right there?
That is a wall.
Oh,
This this camera itself can pan.
mm-hmm.
So, and if you go to her channel, she's got a bunch of others. Okay, there's one in particular. Pyro asked me to show the one where there was a growl. Okay, there's not a whole lot as far as the video, but you hear something like it's if you're moving a metal desk or a filing cabinet across a tile floor, and that scraping sound.
Yeah.
But then there's a discernible growl after that. It's it's crazy. But yeah. So, and I wanted to show you that, and I thought in the first one I found it interesting for the simple fact that not only did it act like it was interacting with them,
Yeah.
as in trying to get away from them, but it disappeared after the lights were turned on, and you couldn't see it with the IR filter anymore.
Yeah.
You know, and something had to kick on the motion sensor to get it to start anyway. And she has had several.
Oh, wow. So okay. So this it. Oh man. Dude,
It's a motion sensor.
This is very similar then to what my mom has. I would say actually, it might not be too far off. It might even be the same. If it's very similar, there's very little you can fake. I mean, it's so this is this is absolutely, that's very interesting that it's a like I didn't know. I thought maybe it was like something that always recorded, but for it to be like to pick up motion, and see, that's the thing. Holy shit! God, that's interesting. You know what? That fucking thing. Oh, that thing has come on several times, and there's been nothing. You can't see. See, I don't think theirs has the that it's not the same, because they have a slightly better one because they have IR. The one she got doesn't have IR. But damn if that thing don't kick on, and damn if there isn't motion lights all over this place that kick on for no reason half the time, and it's just like a weird thing,
right? Mm-hmm.
That it's not a short. I know it's not because I've tested it. It's not a short.
She doesn't always get stuff on camera. She has shown me that on multiple occasions. Now, she will have kicks. You know, it'll kick on, give her alerts, alert, and there'll be nothing there. Then something like this will pop up, and then she'll get a visual, and so it's really hard for her to get everything downloaded, and because of the app, it's weird. But she's trying real hard, and like I said, she's been having technical issues.
How long have they been at that location, or how? I mean, were they there before?
Yeah, they were there before all this started happening. When they bought it, see the little history on the place, and she's been doing some research on it too. It's pre-Civil War.
Yeah,
the house that was inside it was a residential house that was later turned into a mortuary, a funeral home. And then they turned it into a bed and breakfast. I know, right? That look in your face is what I kind of was like, what? But then they built around it. They built structure around that building.
Yeah.
So the original structure, the entire original structure is still there.
I wonder then, just, because it has been around, has anyone else experienced activity beforehand that ever, owned it, frequented it, anything like that? Is there any kind of anything there that would give pretense versus like this just starting up in the last few months?
This is an ongoing investigation, man.
Yeah.
She's still trying to figure this out. Most of the rest of what's going on there, she's going to cover on her channel when she gets back up and going. If any of y'all in chat who follow Chrissy have been wondering where she's at, that's what's going on. She's been having a lot of technical issues. She's had a host of personal issues she's had to deal with. Nothing serious, but enough to kind of gimp her a little bit. And the other day, her laptop said "fuck you" and kicked the bucket, and she's got herself something else up, and she's trying to get herself situated so she can get back up. I'm thinking hopefully she can get up tomorrow, but maybe. But I just want to throw that out there. she's not feeling well, and she's trying to get stuff together.
Is
She
I was going to ask. She is a tarot reader. You said correct?
yeah.
Okay.
She's very
Um.
sensitive, very sensitive.
So outside of tarot, um, she, she more would she have any kind of abilities that you would say are, I guess clairvoyant, of any type, any of those, like there's clair I can't remember what it's called for the audio one, where they hear they can, there's a few offshoots of clairvoyancy, but is there anything kind of like that, like maybe
Clairaudience,
yeah, something like it's something like
something like that. Anyway, she's a sensitive. I know that much about her.
okay.
How far it goes, I don't know.
I just wondered if she had like a medium, like abilities of maybe what people would call a medium or something similar to that, as far as that being able to sense, almost like have that extra sensory that most regular people don't, almost like they
Hmm.
like that kind of ability, because um, that would make sense. Then if it hasn't presented itself beforehand.
Thanks, Jen. It is
Or
clairaudience.
yes. Okay, good, good. Yeah. I felt like it was something else that I mean, good. I'm glad it was something simple for once. Like, I mean,
Clairaudience. I
I was
know,
gonna say something a
right?
lot crazier than that. But no, I just I posit that because if nobody else experienced anything prior to this, and they're the first ones that have,
Hmm.
I don't know. My theories go a little. I don't want. I just sometimes I'm not afraid of a lot of things, or these when it does come, because I've, like I said, even with the stuff that's happened in the last year, I just don't. I get kind of uneasy and chill sometimes. I'm like, oh shit, what
Hmm.
the hell? But as far as like confronting it and it having domain over me, no, it doesn't. I
Hmm.
exist as well. You seem to exist on a slightly different scale that we neither one of us can really fully perceive the other in totality. So I just, I'm more curious. I wonder if this, though, people like with what she is, or have her ability, um, can act as a beacon, or even a conduit, or whatever you want to call it, almost like a way that these things. It's like if say that you put a pin on a map, like you open the Google Maps, and this you want to go to this destination, bam, it drops that stupid little pin on there. But like, and it blocks out everything else, and then say she's the pin on the map versus,
Bless her heart.
you know what I'm
I,
saying?
dude, bless her heart, but she's a shit magnet. She
Yeah.
really is. It happens to her all the time. All kinds of crazy stuff. And she used to sit back and say, this can't be coincidence. It can't all this craziness can't happen to one person all the time. And we've
In a vacuum, yeah, things don't happen in a vacuum like that. They don't.
no.
Yeah, I have experience with I mean, my closest friend and partner is a she reads tarot, and has extrasensory abilities I've seen firsthand, that I, despite knowing me, I wouldn't have talked about certain things, and for them to
Hmm.
have brought up unnerved me, actually. And that's the problem I have, or not the problem, but the issue I face when she relayed information about my father, and said, many times he had come to her, speaking to her, without me even asking, because I never asked, or really had anything read. I'm curious about it, but I just better. I either want to know fully or I don't. That's how I am. I'm a little bit, I guess, stark that way. I do like. I think it's fun. I do enjoy it. The tarot part of it. I think that's very very cool. I like that. I've always liked that. But when it gets to the other parts of it, I she would get a little bit irritated with me because I questioned it a whole lot. Well, I don't know, is always what she said. I'm not really sure how it happens. And, for me, I'm like, there's got to be an inkling. You've got to have some kind of idea. There's no way you just have no idea, I guess. I feel like that. And so I do challenge it a little bit, but I'm like, I guess if the answer is I don't know over and over and over, I have to say, okay, maybe you really don't. Um, but I also play, I guess, more into what if it's not him? What if something else has come through instead? And most bizarre thing for me is when I started bringing that up, he never showed back up. And that still right now sends a little bit of a chill through me. Might be the closest I've ever can say I've been in my 30s right now, my adult life, whatever you want to call it. I've been kind of scared. Because when I brought that up, he never came back through to her. She never brought him back up. But there were things. Because my father died in 2010. I met her in 2014. And my father was a turbulent individual with a lot of problems. Alcoholism, namely, and chiefly. And I didn't really talk to him too much about him. And especially about, not about certain things, like what he wore. Or, she had, I don't think I really saw this damn picture. I don't have anywhere put up any, that you could easily access either. And so for her to say that he was shirtless a whole lot, because he did. He had a better physique than I did. But just things like that. And it just, I just want to know. I wanted to figure out, well, why is he coming through? What is it about? Is he, and what's the message ultimately, and all this stuff. And so then I started saying, well, what if it isn't him though? What if it's not him?
Mm-hmm.
What if you're not communicating with what you think?
Exactly.
What if, and a lot of people that do this, that do call themselves clairvoyant, me, could get really upset by that. Like I'm challenging them. And I guess maybe I'm not so much challenging, but I'm asking a question, like, because I will say that, with who she, and this is just my personal experience with somebody, she's a little bit too sometimes stuck to, this is how it is. I am the one, I know this better than you do, kind of thing. And I'm like, okay, that's fine. So, I do have to challenge her a little bit, because it does kind of get that way. She's a little bit too like stark, more so than I am. Like it's this and that. But because when it really I just asked, I said, how do you know? It's not so much I was mad. I really did want to know. He's coming through to you. I really, really did want to know. Is that my father? How could he come through that? From a side that we have no idea about. How is it? Because I'd never had anything like it in my entire life. So I want to know, how is he coming through that? And how
Exactly.
is it
Yep.
him?
Mm-hmm.
And if it's not him, what is it? Because now I'm a little bit mad. Not at her, but if something is coming through, relaying information about my father, who the fuck are you then if you're not him? Because
Yep.
I'll tell you right now, we may be on two different planes, but you're going to make me spend the rest of my life trying to figure out how to get onto your plane and put my foot in your ass.
Mm-hmm.
So that's more my challenge to that thing, whatever it might have been, but it could have been him. I can't say, and I don't know, but what was told to me, no. And it made me uncomfortable. Still does. And that happened 3 years ago. So I do have my experience when I ask these questions, I guess, if anybody's curious as to why I would be asking, or who am I? I am nobody, but I do have experience with in depth with someone who does all these things and makes a living doing it actually. So a full time living. So um, which I think is pretty incredible, really. Um, it is. It really is. Anybody doing anything that they're their own boss. Man, that's actually almost probably the most impressive thing about it, really. But I have had experience. I've seen, and I've been privy to um, just that side of it more so than most might have, and I've even met others outside of it, and met a couple frauds. One of them I took down because I wasn't going to let that person do that. It wasn't right. Certain things don't sit right with me, and when somebody is a proven grifter, if you will,
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna sink your ship. And I did. One of the few good things I did, I guess, in the last couple of years. But because it's just not right. Everybody else trying to make a living off of it that's actually legit, and depends on it and actually loves it and whatever. Um, the charlatans or whatever you want to call them, that's probably a stronger term than necessary. But yeah, when you're fabricating things and trying to draw clout, you need to be forced back into the shadow, whatever. Just piss off to your existence. So yeah, but that's a very interesting thing. She's having that go on, and that's why I just asked that, because I was wondering. I wonder sometimes, because it's very funny you say that a lot of bad things happen. Yeah, a lot of bad things do happen. Seems like, and that's why I wonder if they're beacons or something, because it does seem like who I know, or who I'm speaking of, she's had a whole lot of things happen that I just sometimes I'm like, God damn, are you cursed? Like, what is happening?
I know. I'm hoping that maybe she'll be able to tell the story of what happened to her last weekend. Yeah. I mean, that's dude. You talking about some crazy shit. And this is dealing with the living. Okay? That's a little off. Okay? And they attract let's just say these people who have this ability to attract spirits also have an ability to attract a certain type of people.
Yeah.
And they're attracted to them for some screwed up reason, but they'll wind up in their vicinity, and it's crazy. Everything she told me the other day was like, what the hell? Can you just not catch a break? Seriously though, man, it's nuts. But
this person, yeah. On my end, I've had to. I'm not much. I'm not trying to sing my heel. I'm not whatever. But there are some incidents that with people, living energy, whatever you want to call it. Because sometimes I wonder what. Yeah. There's one there was one instance that was super peculiar one time, and I don't know. I mean, I've not told too many. I definitely haven't put it out there too public about I just some of the weird stuff in that regard, because I'm very logical and I'm very driven, and I am. I don't know. I guess I try to always, like, sometimes I don't know if I can always, I have the belief I can't always outwit and outsmart everybody. I can't outmaneuver, but I can be surprising. So, like a better term, I always call it throwing a hand grenade into a campfire. Nobody really anticipates that move, but it's a move, I guess, if you want to use it. And that's kind of what I try to be sometimes. And but there's been some things I just looking back on, remembering now, there was a time that there was two people that appeared at an event, I remember, as distract like like a distraction from another person. And she said that at the time, and I was like, "Ah, that's bullshit." I saw them right in front of us. I said they weren't shit. I said they weren't nobody. I said it was some, couple in their 50s. But looking back on it now, again, like I said, things don't happen in a vacuum. Looking back on it now, it was odd and out of place, because I don't really recall too many people coming up asking that many fucking personal questions. Very bizarrely, actually, it made me uncomfortable. I started, because when I'm not about it, I don't make any illusions that I'm trying to make conversation. Get piss off. I'm just gonna sit there. I'm not gonna be rude, but I'm not gonna answer your questions either. I'm gonna give you a yeah, 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 and I'm gonna keep looking like I'm not paying attention to you, because I'm not. But that's the thing. It was very persistent. It got to a point where it annoyed me, because I'm like, dude, you guys are just not getting the, whatever. Like, can you go on somewhere? Like, what are you doing? Like, you're not making small talk. You're being very pointed. And she said it was distraction, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, it's just her excitement that got but now you mentioned stuff like that. It's very bizarre sometimes. Like, it's just like there are people that seem to come out of nowhere sometimes. And like I said, there's been some instances where I it could have gotten really out of hand with people. And I just was able to kind of, hey, look, this is what's going on. Get out. Don't try to come. Get out. Sometimes that method of blowing things up, whatever you want to call it, it's not volatile. It's more to provide the necessary whatever smokescreen distraction to get away from what you think is trying to thwart or do harm. And that's usually what I funny enough like to do. Get away, get out. Don't feed into it. Do not feed it. Don't be afraid of it. Don't at all. Don't do anything. Just get away, though. Evacuate. And so I can attest to it. And yeah, it seems I don't know. It's definitely bizarre, and I'm not gonna. I think sometimes, though, like I said, things aren't always what they appear to be, too. So, at least in my experience is what I'm referring to mine. Sometimes it was absolute, just I don't know, insanity almost, just getting too into your own head, and you kind of have to tell that person, hey, whoa. But as far as strange things though around that person too, yes, and knowing about those strange things, that's even crazier. Knowing about them, and that's the thing. It's like I don't know how to put all those pieces together. I don't know what fits where, and if this, looking at this, these people was something else, because I could pick. I'm gonna be honest, I could pick up those same whatever deck, because there's a bunch of decks. That's just kind of cool too. There are a ton of tarot decks. They're very cool. Their meanings, all of them are cool. You don't want to.
Yeah.
And I always joke with her, and she's pretty good humored actually. My partner, she's very good humored about how I do, because I'll fuck with her, and I'll be like, so is it the Tower of Wands that you don't want to pick up, or is it the Sword of Kings? I don't know which one I'm picking up. It's going to kill me, man. So I'll fuck with her a little bit. But I do this with my own stuff too. So because I let her rag and dog me about the solar light. it was coming. Like she absolutely did. She goes, "Oh, now you sure that was Dogman or was it a skin?" I was like, I think that was a low solar light from 2003. My bad. So, you have to have a good sense of humor about it. I think you do. Because I'm, like I said, I'll let her dog me in, and I think you have to. It's a good way of being, but you know, and but there's definitely something to it. So I'm trying to figure out, um, or I'm always just aware, because there's no figuring it out. I'm always aware that this all does fit together. I don't know how though. And that's what's weird. Is it like my logical mind trying to think people coming through to her from, whatever? Because I'm not the only person. She has people come to her, pay her good money to have her communicate with people that have passed over. And she's been doing it for years now. So, like, if she was completely bullshitting, I feel like she'd either, because she makes a living off of it, and not rich and extravagant by any means, but a living where she can support herself, pay her rent, pay her bills, all that stuff. That's great. To me, that's all you need in this world. Shit. But like, I'm not one for fancy things really. But like, so my two things though, if you're bullshitting, you're either gonna become real extravagant and famous. You're gonna be a big sensation. Everybody's gonna love you. Oh shit, everything. Or you're gonna flop and fail, like that one person did. You will be found out.
Right.
So like with people like even who Chrissy, or Christy. Am I saying, I don't want to say her name?
Chrissy. Yeah.
Chrissy. Okay. I got it right first. Okay. And if they were completely whatever. But did it cut us off?
I'm good. Can you hear me?
There. Okay. If it was completely whatever, I think they would either be wildly whatever, or they would be complete flops. So like that's what kind of lends it, the whatever to it, is like they're both they're doing good for themselves. So it's like there's something to it, and there's something there about them, and I feel like they are, I don't know, a part of all this, and I don't know how, but it's like something almost seems like with this constant of coming for like the constant kind of conflict or whatever you want to call it. I wonder if something is doing that with intent. Like if something is trying to come for them because it's either curious, a beacon, or it's I don't know what you would refer to. It could be simply that these things, they are of a more elevated status on our own plane than I am, at least, and these things gravitate towards them, or they are almost awake. I don't know. It's just, there's a lot of little theories you can come up with, and all are very fascinating. And but I feel that there is an importance there of some type to these people with the gift. There's an importance that I don't know what it is.
Right.
There's been a reason to it, and I can't describe. I wish that I knew.
Now, this is a good one right here. I believe the closer you get to the Creator, the light, the more the adversary, the dark, tries to pull at you. And I see that. You know, my views on religion have changed drastically over the years, and my belief system was shaken to the core here not too long ago. But I do believe in the higher power. I believe in the presence of good and evil because you cannot have one without the other.
Exactly.
And I do believe there are forces around us that we cannot see that enact certain things on a daily basis, whether we see it or not. And there are some people who, like your partner, like Chrissy, who are, and a lot of other people. Okay, it shine a
Yes.
little, that shine just a little brighter, and this is the good and the bad are attracted to that type of personality, that whatever that is, that whatever wavelength they're emanating, you know, and it can be a problem. It can be a problem, and it's not just you that will have a problem; it's the people around you. If you're one of those people that are, you know, are like that.
They operate on a different wavelength,
Mm-hmm.
frequency, or vibration. Yes. And I don't know, but it's like I was gonna before I got off into too much, I was gonna say whatever they can do, I I don't possess that ability.
Mm-mm. I don't either.
I couldn't do what they have in front of them. Like I said, like we're good humor with each other and we joke, but I don't. And I know what she's told me and relayed to me about what these things mean. The decks and all the cards and all that stuff with them. Eh, But I couldn't pick it up and do anything or read them. Maybe I could learn. I don't know. I don't. I don't think. I think I think anyone can learn almost, not learn the intricacies, but anyone can understand how something works. I don't think they can learn fully or to the capacity where they can do or operate, which another person can all the time. And this is one of those kind of mystical elements to life. I am under no illusion I grasp the concept of what this one means and this one means and this one means, and you don't want this
Mm-hmm.
one and this one means good, but I don't know how I could pick it up and do the readings for someone else, interpret those things,
Mm-hmm.
and pull some of those things out of the deck. And I think there's a power to that that we that the human condition does, even if they are on an extrasensory level, has to be aware of. And and I don't mean on any kind of like the occult is occult anything like that, like in a religious sense. I mean, like, don't let it get to your ego. Don't let it overtake you. Don't let it make you think that you are all seeing or all knowing, because even if you can interpret certain things and you are at a different wavelength, whatever you want to call it, it you are still of the human condition, and you will suffer that same human condition. We all will. And that's why I guess I was a little bit more wary every time something seemed to happen, because it was like there's nothing that can be done if something is truly out for you and you're not aware, or you're not willing, or whatever you want to say, to see that. You have to be very cautious with how you approach things. And um, it's another community. It's, again, it's one of those, it's so crazily, it's another community that the one commonality, whatever you want to say, between, say, the cryptid community, the paranormal, whatever you want to say, the commonality is that human condition
Mm-hmm.
of wanting to be the best, be the one that interprets it the best, be on top, be the one with numbers, blah blah, whatever you want. Look at your numbers, and so that divisiveness sometimes, that thing that makes people jealous. Because I mean, if anything, I have absolutely seen that. I can attest to that, and I'm very bewildered by it. Cause I'm like, okay, nobody is out here in this city anyway, that's in that kind of community, whatever, that's hers. And then again, I'm not in that, so I can't speak completely. But what I've seen on the outside is what I've heard, and what there is a lot of like just, this is mine, don't take it. This is my area. Don't, how dare you say, I mean, and yeah, you have to have some tact about yourself. You don't want to step on other people's toes or their territories. But again, it seems very like guarded, like a secret almost. Like,
Mm-hmm.
oh no, I'm the one who saw this thing. It's just like, you take A and B from cryptid community and replace it with A and B of, the, I don't even know what you call it. It's the terror. It's kind of what I've heard mostly referred to as like the witchy kind of community and such like that. And again, it's a label right now. It's not anything I'm binding
Mm-hmm.
to. I'm just saying that's what I'm referring to it as for this
Right.
purpose. You can take any of that though, and it's like if you just kind of switch out the terms, you're like, oh god, wow, oh, it still equals C because everybody's still mad at each other. So cool. I believe you. Like, okay, oh my god, like I just and again with that person that like I had to, just to I exposed them to because they came for an opportunity, that she was being presented, and it was already something she had worked really hard to get. And this person kind of swooped in and took a topical matter within our own city,
Mm-hmm.
um, that a very topical thing, 2020, um, and said that, I'll just be exact with it. I don't care. I'm not going to be vague. They professed that they were communicating with the spirit of a deceased resident here shot by our police force. And this was coming from a whatever you want to believe about race. It was coming from someone that looked not like me, but of the same whatever persuasion. And I just was like, man, this is not, even if that person, you need to kind of pass this off. I don't know if you should be speaking on this. It's a little bit too much right now. And this was in June. So it was right when all this was happening. And I looked into a little bit more. And my thing is with this, if somebody's really coming through like, yeah, why would you not contact the family right away? Say, hey, I mean, I don't know. Like, this is a big, big thing if that's really happening. But then if you also look into it, a lot of times that's too little a time to, if you believe in those elements of this, it's not enough time to fully cross whatever you want to say. It's just my own research plus some things I've heard partner wise and from others. And again, it was very theatrical too. How this person was going about it. Very dramatic, performative. And it was just, they had heard about this opportunity and were basically swooping in to vulture it. I'm not, for one thing, to me, it was offensive, and it's just like, we've got enough going on. We don't need you to stir more shit up. But also,
Right.
you're trying to vulture an opportunity. This person that I know has been working fucking months to get, working her ass off months, going back and forth, because I told her several times, I'll be honest, I said, fuck this shit. These people are getting on my fucking nerves for you because they're bullshitting you. They're telling you to do this, telling you to do that, change this about yourself, change that. They're telling you to do all this stuff, and you have to meet all these. And she didn't listen to me, which was good. Because she persevered. She got the opportunity. She did what they asked her to do, all that stuff. And they hadn't vetted this son of a bitch one bit. And I said, have you guys looked at what he's saying on his YouTube? I said, what do you think? Do you really want to be associated with that? Do you want your brand, your entity associated with that? Because I said, there's going to be a lot of people that, if this gets out, are going to be asking some real questions, real hard questions about this. And they're going to be kind of pissed, I bet. And I mean, and it was already, I said, do you really want that look for that? On top of just, I just don't think he's I think he ain't worth as much. The shit he's selling, whatever you want to call it. I ain't got a really good metaphor, but I mean, you know, it's just that's the kind of stuff like within communities like that. It's like somebody, it's the same in all of these. Everybody is just like they would sooner, cut somebody else off than share and say, hey, I'm whatever. I mean, or try to lend validity because, I just, like I said, I don't just look at the surface and say, oh yeah, I mean, because if I got to come with some claims and, anything in life just like this, I looked a little deeper than just the surface to it and found out that his gift had only trace it back to that year, right about a month before.
Right. Mm-hmm.
I mean, I looked at all of the social media that was available. Yeah, any word, any trace of him, it all only went back just a little bit. And it seemed that the entity changed as it needed to, his narrative or whatever. So I was just like, yeah, if you're gonna do this, man, take a different angle. Don't take this one at least. I mean, and it's just because it's my partner, being African American, and this kid talking about he's channeling the spirit of an African American woman that was shot by our police. I mean, whatever anybody wants to think, it don't matter. I don't care about that. It just kind of seemed like trying to vulture that from someone. It's just like, God, man, like even if you do succeed, I'll be honest, you're not gonna go very far. People are gonna be pissed no matter what. This is not gonna be your thing, man. Like, I'm gonna stop doing as much as I mean, you can look at it like I'm kind of doing you a favor too, and because it wouldn't have went well. So it's the same though as people like saying, fighting over who's got more whatever within the cryptid, whatever, or who's seen this, or who's got the better stories, or whose channels. But it's just like, worry about the people that are truly trying to upend the whole thing for everyone, who is really trying to take the ground out from both of you and make a farce out of it.
Right.
It's already, say you're selling Bigfoot, Dogman, whatever it is, or even ghosts. You're already going to have an uphill battle on an eroding slope that's it's been raining for weeks. You're already going to be climbing a mountain, man.
Exactly.
Like, you don't want other people coming in, swooping in, and bullshit and making fake bullshit, man. Like, you want to be able to say, this is the one that's a problem. If you have a competing brain, you just do. Like,
right.
Coke and Pepsi are still both around. They, I mean, whatever. Pick a better analogy, I guess, if mine's not good enough. But
no, it works.
Things exist. Like, so,
and
both places can exist.
I see. That's this platform right here. I wanted to keep around for that very purpose because there's so much that goes on, and I feel it's all connected. I've said this before. I'll say it again.
Yeah.
Where it comes right down to UFOs, ghosts, Bigfoot, freaking Bermuda Triangle, or the Loch Ness Monster. I don't care. If you got something you need to get off your chest, come here. Just share, because there's a lot of hungry people that come to this channel to digest that information. And there's not a lot of people out here that come here who are looking to prove anything. They're just looking for answers. And there's a big difference. And sometimes those answers aren't exactly what we want. But
they're not.
It is good to have people come here and tell their story, something that's happened to them that they've been afraid to tell anybody else, or have been afraid in a social setting, even among family and friends, and outside of this, to say anything, because the people are, and I will say it, ignorant. There's, and we talked about this the other night. There's a difference between, ignorance and stupidity, and willful ignorance is still stupidity. Yeah, it's dangerous. It's still stupidity. There are people who bury their head in the sand, and who just don't want to know about any of this, and who hurt the people they love the most. And they come to them, somebody who's known you since you were in diapers, someone who's known you and trusted you, tells you a story of something that happened to them, and you brush it off and you call them nuts. That is fucked up. And I don't like that. I don't like that shit. I see too much of that. I've seen some people come on certain shows and they get brushed off. There's a lot of people who do not like me, and because of the stuff I talk about. They've said that I muddy the waters. I said, how the fuck am I muddying waters, dude? Seriously. You're a goddamn hamster on a wheel. How many more foot casts are you going to take? How many hair samples are you going to take? How many more times are you going to run DNA? How many more times? Go ahead and get out there and beat on some more trees. Go ahead. Talk to the people out here who have had experiences. Gather that knowledge from them. And that's what this place is about. Fuck all that other bullshit.
I mean, it's funny though. Like anytime I have had something happen, I didn't expect it.
Mm-hmm.
I won't even say I wasn't looking for it, because a lot of times I really wasn't. I mean, especially when I was younger, I had no idea about it, some of these things. So it's kind of, that whole thing goes, not to digress, but it goes back to like, if we're all making this up, I mean, I'd like to know where I got some of these ideas from, because I had never heard of it. I mean, at 20 and so years old, but I mean, here since 20, I guess 19. I mean, since every time something's happened, it was when I was never expecting it. Because I think I've said this before in the last one. I have gone looking, damn it. I haven't found shit. It's made me mad. I have been out exploring, like, all right, I'm ready. I'm going to see something, I think. Or, I don't know, maybe not, but damn it. Oh, well, I'm ready anyways, and I'm going to an area where I think, okay, well, this is the loose plan.
Mm-hmm.
And nothing. And so then, though, I'm just, walking in the backyard one time and hear that groaning, weird hello. And I'm just out there with the little dog, over here. She's the most scared thing on the planet.
Disembodied voice.
Like, oh, shit.
That's the worst, man.
Yeah, and I'm just like, what the hell? I was just out here, and I think I told about this last time. I was looking out. There's a little skunk that's in the backyard, and I was looking for him with my flashlight. And next thing I know, I'm hear this unnerving, creepy shit, and I'm like, okay, well, I don't see my skunk friend, but cool. Like, I wasn't ready for that, man. I wasn't. It was a creepy experience, but this is like, I'm doing something like boring and innocuous. Just like, I like to watch little skunk walk around in the other yard sometimes. And I was like, okay, cool. Another time I'm just up, painting and, where I'm at now. And back when my grandmother still lived nearby, we were kind of taking care of her. And, here there's some person that looks like she thinks it's, my mom crouching out by the trash cans. And I'm like, well, that's just not anything that she ever does. And I think my first thought is, who the fuck is out there? And okay, well, I guess I'm gonna go out there and see who is out there. And again, one of those times I didn't expect, and it's like, I'm unprepared. I don't really know how to process it, but it's like, it's
right.
Very bizarre. And so, yeah, if you're looking for it, I mean, if somebody's ever looking for it and they find it, that's pretty amazing. Actually, I would almost say that in a way, I don't know. I don't know. Maybe I don't really know about that. I haven't put too much thought into that one. That'd be
Yeah,
weird.
yeah.
It's like you're meant to.
Usually that's how that happens. That's how I look at it. If you were meant to, if you see something, you were meant to. And what we're talking about at Bat Mom. How you doing, Bat Mom? Glad to see you around here. It's like when a child goes to a parent to tell them about abuse from a family member and the parent ignores the child. It's the same thing. It's horrible when you're not heard. Exactly right. Exactly right. Because there's a lot of people who just don't understand and refuse to understand. I've run into so much of it myself. I mean the side eye glances and the all that stuff. Why ain't they ever found a body? I don't know. I don't give a
I mean,
fuck. I look. I mean, I don't. I don't give a fuck about that. I don't. I
the only thing
don't.
I would, the only thing I would ever posit about a biological entity, not so much how why even find the body, is in this day and age, how would they? We would have absolutely, with how humanity is, hunted it to extinction.
Yeah.
There weren't many bodies to find because we'd have killed the damn thing back. I mean that's like the gray wolf. We between shit by the 1920s, the gray wolf had been hunted. Shit, if I'm saying it right, extirpated. Yes, there we go, extirpated. It was gone from the continental United States, the 48 lower, because they hunted it because it was a pest. So you're telling me they wouldn't do the same damn thing back then to a tall hominid or a werewolf? They would have shot that thing so full. There wouldn't have been a body. So like because humanity has a habit of killing everything, and especially things that are seen as pests and deemed as such. So like that's the only thing I would have posited is not so much why haven't they found a body is how could they find a body? They would most ran, especially out in the Northwest. They wouldn't give a shit. They just said throw and burn the damn thing. I don't give a shit. It's not
Right.
killing my livestock anymore. So, but that they really did. We had to reintroduce the gray wolf into the United States in Yosemite's when they first started that in '95, and they took, they delisted it from the ESA. And that's my biggest thing, not to get off on whatever, but I'm concerned they're going to do it again because it's no longer an endangered species protected under that. I'm concerned that they're going to just say it's free. I mean, they already have had a lot of issues just in the last few years with people hunting gray wolves illegally and all that, so killing at will. So I mean, that's the one thing I kind of do think. That's why I've always not so much the lack of evidence for finding a body, finding DNA, all that stuff. That's not why I've always been like that's not. I don't believe in it. It's more like we would have hunted this fucking thing to the brink, and either if it is biological, it does have an extremely small population, which then I wonder how is it breeding, and how is it even breeding, and how is it creative breeding pool, and all that given, and just again how I went back to what I said earlier about the 70s and stuff. All that like with anthropogenic change, like how much human encroach. There are a lot of places still unexplored in the world. Um, a lot of inaccessible areas, but as far as like anywhere that you could kind of think, the Pacific, the western side of things, once you kind of go Midwest and then over, Eastern's not as heavily, it's forested, but it's not got as much expanse, I guess, as far as like just. I always look at it like if I was ever going to go missing anywhere hiking, if I had to choose between the East and the West, which one do I feel like I would absolutely go missing in? It would be the West. I mean, I would absolutely get lost out there and die. I know I would. I'm under no illusions. Good God, it would be bad. I got lost in a park out here 3 years ago, and it was not that big. You can get turned around pretty easy. so, so like, so like, if anything exists, I would think more maybe over there. I mean, and I'm not, again, not saying nobody has seen things. That's not what I'm getting at. I'm not saying they can't exist out here. Not at all what I'm saying. I just don't know if they exist in the way of the biological means, because it would be, with how large these things are. It's just every time you mention it's mentioned as a bio. I have to, just from my, okay, well, what's the breeding? What is it? What's the, how is the ecosystem effects felt? Because, like I said, with the gray wolf, when they reintroduced it, the beaver colonies, which again is a very bizarre thing for me when I first heard it, the beaver colonies went from one, which the beavers were almost gone from Yosemite. Before the wolves were reintroduced, because of the wolves, it improved their colony numbers through the trickle-down effects, where they went from 1 to 9 just in that single year, and they're flourishing again, huge. But because of an apex predator like that, just the gray wolf, the trickle-down effects are felt everywhere, and it's just tremendous. So that's where I have to say, okay, if you have a 9-foot tall, Bigfoot dog, man, what do you want to say? 8 foot, whatever, anything over 7 feet, damn it. If you got that stuff roaming around and it's a biological entity, what are the ecosystem, what effects is happening to that ecosystem? How are the effects with the local population centralized, both in their own numbers and in, I guess, running into the human population? I mean, and, I know, well, people have seen it. I've seen it. Okay. But how has it not been seen more and more and more, and people are out there hunting it, or, destroying its habitat even? That's the bigger thing. How is its habitat not being destroyed by development and human encroachment? There's just a lot of things that we have to take into account with biological entities, hence why I just am very I'm not shutting the door on that. I'm just a little bit more, I guess I have to approach that with more reason and skepticism, because I'm just like, I really actually think that would be fucking awesome if it was, because that'd be really cool. Because it's like, oh my god, that's a huge human discovery. That would be huge,
right?
And then it's like, well, how do we protect it? Because you're gonna have a bunch of people wanting to shoot this damn thing. I mean, they just, like I said, out west, they want to, in Idaho and stuff, they want to shoot the gray wolf. You're telling me they wouldn't want to shoot one that walks on 2 legs? That's 8 feet tall. Come on, yeah, they would. So, it's just, that's where, it comes into. So yeah, with me, it doesn't even get to the DNA sequencing too much, because I'm just like, there's so many other issues that come up first that I need to say, hey, how does this work? Because if they're biological entities, they have to kind of operate in an order that makes sense to the planet and environmentally and such, with the in the ecological sense. So I'm more of the mind, topic of the night, infrared sound, or not sound, but frequencies and vibrations. Like, I think these things operate in a different way than we do, but our technology has accidentally stumbled into maybe, what's going on here? This could be something. Holy shit. We made infrared for other reasons. Oh, look at this.
Right.
And it's just really cool, because like that would make a lot more sense as to why people see them, and it actually makes more sense too as to why like people are told you're nuts, you're crazy, and all this stuff. They hear from outside, whatever, because it's like, yeah, they did disappear. This thing, they did see it briefly. It did show itself. I would think maybe by happenstance. I don't know. Again, I'm not an expert, but I'm just saying I'm going off the pattern of A goes to B goes to C. And so that way, it's like, if these things do interact differently with our dimension, our realm, our plane of existence, or we with it, like maybe sometimes though, it just the right way, these worlds bump, and instead of crosses, and someone sees something, or even more, I guess, call this the Harry and the Hendersons approach. these things don't feel afraid of people that they're showing themselves to because they don't perceive these people as a threat,
Mm-hmm.
you know?
Yep.
Or, and it's so weird because then I think about your experiences where you kind of got some shit thrown at you and you were threatened, but maybe they didn't perceive, like they don't perceive you as a threat, but after viewing humankind for so long, you can't take a chance. You kind of buff up. It's kind of like if you've been bit by a dog, how many times? If a dog comes around, you kind of want to either get away or make yourself scarier than it is. So, in turn, they kind of make themselves more like, "Hey, I'm something to be feared." You know, even though you really don't have to. I gotta do the raw. It's the Harry and the Henderson's approach is how I kind of put it. I mean, because
Right.
the family, and the reason I say that is because the family, whatever, John Lithgow, great movie I watched as a kid all the time. Family loved him, but then the hunter wanted to, you know, I guess
Yeah.
kill him to prove that he existed. So there's a kind of that weird in between, you know.
And you see so many people that that guy mirrors out here. And I've seen a lot of that when I first dipped my toe into the cryptid community. And what a fucked up community that is.
It's a very polarizing one.
Dude, man. You're either in the flesh and blood camp or you're in the woo camp. And when they start throwing that word around woo now, it's very derogatory. And I'll talk about the woo all day, every day. I don't give a fuck. Because there's a lot to it. There's a lot more to these beings. And I find it funny. It's like I said earlier, there's a lot of the same freaking technology that we use to look for cryptids that we do to look for ghosts and investigate spiritual activity. Same stuff. So why don't we pool our resources and see what we've got? That's been my idea, and that's what people come here to do. So there's a lot of people. Most everybody that comes here are tired of the same old bullshit.
Yeah.
And they just want answers, and having your perspective is very refreshing. You come at you have a spiritual side, you've got a scientific side. You've shown all that tonight, and that right there is what everybody wants, man. When we got to
It's
talking,
all the same shit. We've all,
r-
I mean, in a way, it's all human derived, from how it's all from up here.
right?
And people lost that balance or whatever where I can just go to you and go, did you come up with this just like, or what's going on? It's kind of like, did someone else just tell you about this and you're taking it for, and that can even be science, to be honest, because it's kind of like, I don't know if anybody's familiar with Sunny. It's the Sunny episode where Mac tries to convince Dennis of religion and such. And have you ever seen anyone of these scientific texts yourself? Well, no. So you've just taken it on the faith of someone else's word. He's like, well, yes, and it's kind of like his illusion of what faith is, and it's dumb as hell. But like, it's funny because it's kind of like, well, yeah, because I have to say, have I ever met anybody, any of the scientists that exist? Or any regard, have I ever actually seen their personal notes? Have I ever been privy to anything? I actually haven't. So I'm taking it on the faith that this is how the world works. But like, someone could come along tomorrow and say, no, actually, this is how this shit really, and do all the same stuff, do some kind of test that replicate. I'm just saying, I'm playing devil's advocate to a degree that's a little bit out there, but we're all like, just like it's all things that have been passed down. These are all things that have been passed down to us,
Yep.
and they don't have to be in direct conflict is the point. It doesn't have to be that way.
Thank you.
And like, that's the thing. Like, I'm not, I have a healthy approach to religion as well. with I guess my nature. Like I'm very kind of logical and skeptical, but are there things that kind of sometimes like seem to be odd or like a little bit like there is something else? Like I usually just refer to it as a an overarching term of the universe, but there does seem to sometimes exist something outside ourselves, and I'm not going to be someone who blatantly disregards that either and says there's no God. If there was a God, why we need it? I mean, yeah, you can posit all that stuff like why would he allow blah blah blah. You can do that all day long to ad nauseum. Same as with any topic, to be honest, a lot of them. And that's the thing, just like there can be a healthy, I don't believe every single thing I have read, but I'm also not going to say it's a lie or demonize it or say this is stupid or haha this is this and this is I know it for a fact when it's just your opinion. And
Mm-hmm.
you know it's just it, anytime somebody's trying to sell you, or if it seems like if you critical thinking skills come into play at some point, if someone's trying to sell you something or if it feels like that, if you're starting to get that vibe like they're trying too hard or some of their logic starts to fall apart a little bit, or like you're just kind of like I don't get why that would be that way, like what about this, and they just keep talking louder.
Yeah.
Just sometimes you have to think a little critically and say, just because someone's louder and they are more kind of fervent or what are you going to call it? Me, I call it. I'll just be honest. It's sometimes it's mean. I get my feelings hurt, but like I guess I'm sensitive. But no, if it comes off just like that, it's like, well, if their point seems to not connect A, B, C, what are they selling you, or what narrative is trying to be spun, or what's going on here? You have to be very careful of that, especially
Mm-hmm.
in this day and age. Um, Technology is a wonderful thing if used correctly,
Yeah. Yeah.
but it's been used to spread a lot of disinformation in many facets, and sometimes there's kind of almost like it's not cool to whatever you want to say. I just sounded like I'm going to make this sound uncool now, because anyone who says that usually it's an uncool thing they're about to say. No, I'm like
Totally get it, man. Totally get it. Look,
it.
when I first started getting into this, when I got wrapped up into the cryptid stuff, and I like I said, I dipped my toe in the cryptid community. I was listening to people I thought had a lot of experience, right? And I took their word for the gospel. It's like, okay, these guys have been around. They've been doing this a long time. They profess that they've grown up around these people, these creatures, and everything they say is real. And then I go up and I'm listening to thousands, thousands of people who have had run-ins with these people, and that's what I call them. To me, they're not creatures, as no more than we are. They're just different from us. That's just my opinion. Take it from what you will, okay? And this is what led me here. And I looked at these guys, and they were adamant about that. And how you say they kept getting louder and louder and louder, trying to sell you this. Some of these guys were charging people money to go on Bigfoot expeditions. I said,
How
"What
much?
the?"
I mean, I feel like that would be a lot more than. I mean, to see a Bigfoot, I mean, damn, that might be more than what it takes to get into space now. I mean, because space is there, so that's a real promise.
There's like 150, $200 a person.
Oh no, I would definitely if I had a Bigfoot expedition, I would absolutely charge 20,000 to maybe 50, just a little bit under that threshold to go into actual space. Just Because I mean, hell, if you're gonna show, I'm showing you a Bigfoot, you bastard. Like, it's gonna cost you more than $200. Damn. So that's what I'm saying. Like, you got to think critically. Like, okay, so if you've got one of the biggest scientific discoveries, just like, and you know how to take people on, I mean, I would become a millionaire within a billion. I mean, not a billionaire. That's really hard to do still, I guess. But I mean, I absolutely would encroach $1 million in my first year of operation, because I'm showing you something that's entirely something no one else has seen. You better pay me more than 150. Damn it, that's like.
That's right.
So that's what I mean. Like, I kind of, it just, if it's too, what is it? The old saying, if it's too good to be true, most of the time it kind of is. And you're right. Like, I mean, to your point, what you were saying about, like, you know, you're looking at all these people that have, you know, talking all this, whatever, talking themselves up. I like to, as I've gotten older, I just look at it, you know, because, you know, I simply just look at it like, you got there before me. That's it.
Mm-hmm.
No, it doesn't mean you're better at it. Doesn't mean you're smarter. Doesn't mean whatever. It just means that you arrived at whatever it is you arrived at before I did. Just because you did, doesn't mean you're doing it any different though or better. It doesn't even really mean you did it. You just maybe arrived at the idea.
Mm-hmm.
So, and that's the thing. Like, you know, out of you know. When I first started, I guess 2019, really getting back into everything after a little break from, not even a break, but just, I guess I hadn't really developed or renewed my interest again. I saw a lot of people and I was like, oh, these sound kind of fantastic. I mean, it is my first exposure to certain stories again, and certain things and elements of the cryptid, supernatural, paranormal. And then I heard an interview with you and I was like, this is the first guy that's not raising his voice or, you know, coming up with like, not trying to posit himself as a, you know, a proponent of knowing everything and being an expert. You know, not trying to stake a claim to knowledge almost. And, so I was like, I think I'm going to listen to him. He's not an asshole, so I'm going to go ahead and listen to him. You know,
my wife would say different.
Oh, I've got about 5 people who would you know, say different about me. I might even have 5 to say different about you. No. But no, you were the first one. I was just like, he's kind of a reserved individual. I was like, this is kind of fucking weird. I was like, because I was just so used to everybody who, Chris Cyrus too. I will name him. I'll say him. Chris Cyrus too. I was like, both you and him. I was like, these two are very, very. They're just being really mature about this. I don't get it. No, like it was just very reserved and a quiet tone to it. And I was like, I didn't feel like you were trying to convince me of anything. You were just relaying stuff, and I was like, I'll listen. That's pretty. And I mean, a lot of it. It wasn't anything so fantastical either. It's like, wow, this sounds just. That's insane. I can't believe that happened. That's so cool. Or like, oh my God, I can't believe them because it sounds made up. It was just so matter of fact, I guess, the best way to put it. And that's the way I like it, because it's like, that seems kind of like that might really happen, because I don't think they give a shit if I believe it or not. But they're also not being shitty about it and negative. Like, if you don't believe them, like, you know, you just... you guys were just it was actually that interview you did with him. I was just, both of you were just talking, and I was like, huh, all right.
That's the first interview I ever did. He contacted me and said, would you like to be on the show? That's when he was doing the Venomous Fringe.
Yep. Yeah.
And he was like, would you like to be on the show? And I'm like, yeah. Well, it was pre-recorded.
Yeah.
And I thought it was going to be live, but he got, you know, Chris got out of it and got back into it and got back out of it because there's so much drama, man. Mm-hmm. And because paranormal such and such didn't like Bigfoot such and such, and they were acting
I
like
don't
a bunch of
understand
freaking 3-year-olds, man. You know, it's like kindergartners in the damn sandbox slinging sand at one another. Hopefully, one of them will get sand in the other's eyes, and they'll be like, "Yay!" That's how they acted. It's just, God, would you stupid ass people stop it? What are you doing? You're just making yourself look like an idiot. Just stop. One claims that they're backstabbing this person and that person, and
I
why?
was like, I just don't understand. Like, I mean, I often the maturity, I guess it's
Mm-hmm.
that comes that I feel like that's, I'll be honest, that is something that comes with experience and age. Because
Mm-hmm.
if you would take, and which is very weird, since Chris's and how old I found out he was, from just being his friend on Facebook and such, for him to be that young and have that. So I don't know. I mean, there's caveats to everything, I suppose. But for me personally, I guess is what I'm speed. Let me just say that then. Personally, with age and experience, I became more mature. Um, I'm still not even where I think some people are. Um, I would like to get to those levels, but like that's the thing. Like he always struck me that you did too. You both seem like mature, rational individuals. So it's like it felt like these topics sometimes people that aren't will gravitate towards them, and you can easily see why. But like when people like you do, and he, it's kind of like, oh, there, that feels something feels authentic there, because it's like these people kind of have something to kind of like, I guess, not so much lose, but they are people that you can't just pile in to that wagon, I guess, of whatever you want to call it, um, the clown car or whatever. You can't just do that. You can't just, there are people that you don't, you wouldn't find too many in their life that would kind of roll their eyes at them. They would say, well, no, he's a pretty good person, like stand up individual. So that's why, and so, you know, and you're both definitely, I'll even say you're both more better regarded in that, or I would regard you as both better than myself, even because there's times I've, like I said, I'll never ever put anyone on the spot, but there's just some I've been like, you've got to be fucking kidding me. What? Why do you? And it's not what they're talking about. It's not the subject matter. It's how it's being discussed, and
Mm-hmm.
and the tone. It feels
Oh, I get
so
that.
negative sometimes, and I'm just or
Mm-hmm.
brutish almost, and I'm like, okay, like it's off-putting. It's just like it's kind of like that term that people, or it's almost like that badge of honor some people wear. It's like, yeah, I'm an asshole, and it's like,
Right.
cool. When did that become a thing to be proud of? Are you just, is
Yeah.
this your personality that you're taking on because you don't know how to be a decent person that's not a blowhard? I don't
Mm-hmm.
understand.
Yep.
That's not a badge of honor. Like I knew someone just in my own life like that. My first father-in-law, and it's so weird because having seen him and knowing him, he's a fearsome person, 6'2", big son of a bitch. I mean, God, he's big as hell. I mean, like as far as like but God, his biceps were huge. I mean, very intimidating guy. A little bit of a blowhard though. A little bit of one I was like, I'm an asshole, huh? But biggest animal lover I've ever met. Biggest fucking animal lover I ever met. And I actually appreciated sometimes when he knew how to use that blowhard, because he wouldn't let people just do any, like, he got kids shooting squirrels with a BB gun one time in his backyard, and he got mad as hell about that. He just, because not because I got to pick up these dead squirrels. He's just like, why are you hurting something that's not hurting you and in my property? Like, I don't have a problem with them. Why are you think it's your duty? And I was kind of like, yeah, there you go. Use that like that. Quit making everybody think you're just this mean spirited person who just does it when you got a huge heart. And it's kind of like, having known this person and such, he definitely rubbed a lot the wrong way, rubbed me the wrong way a lot of times too. But underneath it all, I was like, I understood why he had a rough upbringing, and his way of protecting himself and getting his point across was through that kind of sheer force of will and personality and being almost kind of bigger than he really was. And it's like, nah, man. The most I've ever admired you is when you kind of stood up for the things that couldn't for themselves and were sincere and authentic with it, instead of being like, it's just like, I'll listen to you that way. But the other way, if you're just being mean to people for no reason, just to kind of like, so they won't be mean to you first, it's kind of like, that's not any way to be. Like, or
No.
I mean, again, I'm not trying to, I guess, analyze everyone, but sometimes it just feels like when you're shouting over people, you don't have anything but that. And
Right. Yeah.
I mean, I just don't. I guess I have too much social anxiety to ever raise my voice to another person I don't really know that well. Like, I just don't want to do it. Like, I've had to, but I've not liked it. It's
Right.
and I could never fathom myself doing it over any of this stuff, because
Yeah.
Somebody that's smarter than both of us is going to come along and look at both of us and be like, what proof do you both have? And I'm going to go, and I'm going to look over at him and be like, you want to tell me the same thing you were yelling at me just a minute ago? He's kind of got some credentials. You want to yell at him until he... So, same thing for religion. Like, I mean, I'm not going to have, I mean, my mom is extremely, well, I shouldn't say extremely shit. She just got a very strong faith, as far as like Christianity goes, and I'm never, going up to her like, something bad happens, where's your God now? Like, what does that do? That's
Right.
not even how I really think, but like, what would that do for anyone? Does it make you feel better? That's stupid. Don't do that. Just
Yeah.
be I don't know, just treat people how you want to be treated, like yourself. Like, do you want to be yelled at? If you don't want to be yelled at, then don't yell at people. I don't know, shit. Don't put people down. Don't think everyone's, if somebody's, I mean, it's so dumb. But like with my partner, like a story I told earlier, and some in 2019 before COVID hit, we were, we would do little festivals and stuff, and she would do like, around our city, with just events and stuff, and she did her tarot thing there, and I did some of my art stuff, and she and we trust me, there's always going to be something where you kind of get offended when someone steals your idea or something. You're like, you suck, I told you that, I thought we were being friendly, you son of a bitch. Or like, I knew you were watching. But like, I always told her, I said, don't, because she's a little bit more fiery than I can be, and regarding than I can be, it's kind of how it goes. Sometimes I'll be fiery on certain things, but she was more so on this when people, because she had a couple of her ideas, and I told her, I said, stop talking to people, damn it, stop telling them. I said, just stop. I said, it's on you at this point. But no, I said, I told you not to be friendly. No, there was one person absolutely ripped off we were just doing little spell kits like together. I was just doing the boxes for her, and she was putting all the stuff in, and she would, we were selling them for like, I think $20. I mean, and I was taking a good hit, and I was like, it doesn't matter, I've been in debt for 20 years now. But like, I'll never make the red line up. No, but it's just like, she would get real mad. She'd be like, I want to say something. I said, no. I said, it's dumb. I said, that was our idea. So I said, let's just keep doing our idea, because I said, they're not in here, don't let them get in here. I said, once they get in here, then yeah, it's no longer your idea. But I said, as long as it's up here and you keep doing your thing and you just outdo them with your idea,
That's
stick
right.
to your thing, you'll be okay. But like, getting in a fight over it just makes them, it kind of makes you look like they're always going to come out looking different and better. So than you, if they don't fight back, they're just like, I don't get it. So I don't believe in fighting over ideas. I believe in just sticking to what you know and what's tried and true, and just, that's it. So
Dude, I've seen a couple of these channels adopting my philosophy, and I'm not getting mad at it. If they want to bring their people in there, let them bring it, but good. If they want to do what I'm doing, good. If they can actually give some solace to some people who need that port in a storm, They need to get that stuff off their chest. Good, because everybody has a puzzle they're working in their life, and somebody might come along and tell their story about what happened to them, and some other person who's sitting back here in the shadows doesn't. They watch the show. They don't participate in the chat. They don't want to come on. They just want to listen. And next thing you know, someone comes on and has that piece of the puzzle, and they're like, "Damn, that's it. That's it." I mean, how many times have you, and this goes for everybody, how many times have you been standing around talking to somebody and you've had this problem nagging you for a while, and all of a sudden, out of the blue, the subject matter turns around and they're talking to you and they're giving you the answer that you needed from that one person. That one person gives you that answer you've been looking for.
Yeah.
And it's like, damn.
And, I can understand too. Like, I guess I'm just, I don't know. I'm different and I say this for better and worse on all that. Probably to my detriment, actually. Because me, how I perceive that, those, I guess, people doing that, replicating or just outright taking something and trying to make it their own, I may not, but I can understand fully where someone gets upset over it, because
Absolutely.
I can understand if you were there first and you were doing it. I can understand where you're like, hey man, come on, what the hell? And then you see them get success where you don't. Or it doesn't, or they seem to blow up faster or whatever. And it's like, what the hell? And I can see where, I can see that. I think, I guess why I said it, because from my vantage or whatever it is, from my perspective, my approach has just worked more in my favor than it hasn't. So it's something that's worked for me. Because everyone who, try to take ideas, especially from, and replicate some of the things, her and I were doing, and then just more trying to replicate her ideas, alone. Well, COVID hit.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Good luck with that, because nobody can do shit now. You stole it for nothing. And, there were certain things, like I said, I've had, I had an item just taken, and could never figure out who took it and whatever. And it was one of the better ones. And I was just more bummed because I was like, well, fuck, dude, I spent time on that. I was like, if someone's trying to replicate it, y'all sucked at it because I don't see the shit. Did someone just take it, throw it away? God damn it, that's worse. I don't know. I always kept a really calm, weird kind of thing. I just make it. Oh, I don't give a shit. They can't do that. They can't do that. They can take it all they want, but they cannot. They're not doing it in my style. They could try. I just don't really care. Mm-hmm. And it's always funny. Just kind of worked out, and I kind of think that's a balance of luck and just whatever. But I can absolutely see where if someone takes your idea, you have. I kind of feel like you have a right to get mad. I absolutely do. I can't say turn the other cheek on everybody. Sometimes I don't know. Sometimes you got to turn their other cheek. You got to sometimes people just need to be slapped upside the damn head, I guess, too, because I don't know. It's the yin and yang of the world. Sometimes it just whatever mood strikes, I guess. Sometimes too, but mostly I've just been like, go ahead. I dare you. Go ahead. I almost want to see you succeed. I mean, I almost want to see you do something with it. Go ahead. And it never happened. Never saw it take off. Any of the ideas that were taken from her. And, I admire anyone that is open to being friendly and just conversing with people and not having that disposition where I'm a little bit more wary, I guess. Not so much where I'm paranoid, but I'm just like, sometimes when some people are asking too many questions, I'm like, I don't know about this. Like, I don't really, why are you trying to, like, what's going on here? You're too curious. But like, I admire the fact that she was always willing to kind of like try to create a sense of community. And I, I really hate actually what it ended up doing to her in the long run, because it did make her kind of like give that up. She, just like with the cryptic, like how Chris had to step back a couple times, it caused her to step back pretty much all the way from forming any partnerships and such, because there
Mm-hmm.
was such a rampant, and I didn't believe it until I actually saw it. And I was like, oh, yeah, you actually were uh, telling the truth about like people being kind of duplicitous and wanting to, because I saw them replicate the ideas, and I was like, well, shit, that is to a T, and they just messed up a couple things, and it, or they didn't do a couple things similar, and it didn't really work, because it just kind of odd to. It just didn't fit all together, because again, if they're not in here, they can't put everything together that you're trying to do, so it comes off weird and it's like disjointed. But like, especially when your ideas are so like whatever, but it just sucks because it's like, again, like there are so many ideas to be had. So I can understand when people feel like theirs are being stolen, because I mean maybe it's something that they've been through, and they're not just being whatever. Maybe they've encountered that and they've had somebody try to take something from them, and they're like, no, I'm not having it happen again. This sucks. I'm put too much into it.
Right.
So yeah, I get it.
Totally get it, man. Dude, we've been talking, flapping our gums for almost 3 hours. This is great. 3 hours.
And we didn't even get to this. I probably derailed you on the damn scary noise they heard, or the metal scraping thing. So
Well, I'll
I'm
let
gonna have
her. I'm not going to take too much away from Chrissy. I did want to. I did want to see these videos, and in correlation to what we were talking about, and just how infrared plays a big part, or can play a big part in what we do.
I mean, it's I will say I'm usually pretty like on the fence about stuff, but the just knowing how infrared works and how imaging and video works, just from my time doing that for a couple years way back, even with technology now, there's just and knowing that kind of what they're using, that's a damn. That's one of those that I am just like, holy crap, like wow, something is going on, and if it's ramping up, and in only a few months. That's why I mean,
Mm-hmm.
when living in the same state, they're and that's what I'm saying. Like I don't want to. That's why I always tell you, not even on
I
here. In my conversation, we always say, "Don't tell me if you don't need." But like that's why I was kind of knowing it didn't even matter if it was in the state, if it was in a surrounding state, especially in one
I misspoke. I misspoke, and my bad. Y'all forgive me. She's not in Kentucky. She's in Tennessee.
Oh, okay. Oh,
She's
okay.
in Tennessee. My apologies to everybody for that. And Chrissy, when you hear this, I'm sorry, honey. I did not mean to do that.
You just bought
That was
yourself a lawsuit, man.
that probably did. I'm gonna get canceled and all this other shit.
Yeah, I'm canceling you. No, like even in Tennessee, depending on where again, it's curious because there's a lot of history, and I mean, in the last year, I've traveled to both sides actually of the state and straight down, and Tennessee is a very fascinating place. Um, I'm trying to think if I've had anything real creepy happen. Actually, I'll be honest. The trip I went in August to Falls Creek Park, that's about 4 hours from where I'm at now. Out, I almost wanted to say Oneida, but I don't think that's right. Anyway, it's down that way past Big South Fork or whatever it's called. Falls Creek Park. I mean, it's an easy Falls Creek Fall, whatever it is. Um, I, it was one of the most pleasant, beautiful little trips I went on. I loved it. Absolutely loved it. Loved the town I stayed in. Loved everything. Like I really can't. It's gonna be one of those I remember forever. I don't know why. It's just one of those little trips. I don't know. It's just everything fell right into place. It's a damn good little trip. So I really liked it. Um, but I mean, just I've been in the Smoky Mountains. I think twice in my life. Been a while since I've been back, but I mean, I was pretty close to it not long ago. In October, I was on the outskirts of it. I guess I was technically in it, just on the other side near the North Carolina border. Um, I will say though, that's the Smoky Mountains. Though there's regions, there's one in particular I won't stay in. I'm trying to think what it. I've got it written down in a notebook somewhere because just something about it. I don't know. I trust my instincts and my feelings. I didn't like something about it, and I wrote it down to never go there, never even pass through it. Um, Kind of same way, uh, Catawba, Kentucky. I'll never go back through there again. I'm fine. I didn't like it. Didn't like it at all. Didn't like the feeling. It was weird.
Wow.
Did not like it. It's just one of those places I don't want to go through again.
Mm-hmm.
But just Cades Cove is another place. Like Cades Cove and Great Smoky Mountains. That's kind of a weird. Like that's evidently a pretty big hot spot. I've never been there. That's not the place I was thinking of. I'd have to look again. It's more, I guess, on the oh my god, the eastern region of the Great Smoky Mountains versus the western where I went. But North Carolina, man, holy shit, that's a hotbed of just stories and activity and lore. I mean, Tennessee though is too, more so than
Mm-hmm.
Kentucky. Definitely, Kentucky's got stories, but not on par with Tennessee, in my opinion. Whew. Or even West Virginia. I mean,
West Virginia and
oh,
certain parts in
I mean,
North Carolina. Eric's in North Carolina, ain't you, Eric?
yeah. See, I mean, I, I mean, I don't know what his last comment was, but like, yeah, it's just there's certain areas. So I mean, depending on where I would be interested. Like I said, there's several questions, about like what the region is, what the history. You told me the history, but like it's just weird. It's like I wonder with what makes her the variable in all that. That makes
Mm-hmm.
that's why I started grinning when you said tarot. That's the variable to me. That
Okay.
something about that I would bet is tied to what she's experiencing. Even if it has happened before, I guarantee that plus remodeling might have been why things have ran. I mean, because a few months, I mean, that's about, yeah, that makes sense actually, because it was when that happened to me in 2005, it was a month. Because I remember I was watching, it was during March Madness. And I haven't watched March Madness in years actually, but I haven't followed college ball in years. But like, I remember, I can tell you that game was Wake Forest versus West Virginia. Funny enough, when they had the center Pittsnogle and a guy named McGarry, and it was what was his name? He was the coach. He went to Michigan though, and Chris Paul was on Wake Forest, and that's so funny. I mean, that was 17 years ago. I don't know why I remember that, but that's burned in my mind.
Wow.
Burned in my mind.
Time flies, don't it, bro?
Yeah, and I remember that too. It was exactly right after that all of that started happening, and went all through that summer. So between late April through the summer, just bam, bam, bam. Mine was never really docile though. It was almost immediately just ramped. So, but that makes sense as far as like a few months. Yeah, just hopefully. I mean, I'm gonna check her stuff out though for sure. Like her channel. Like I mean,
Oh
it's
yeah.
all super. Those videos. I mean, she. I mean, I'm seeing a lot of stuff. That's yeah. You seem to be able to draw in this last little bit some really really credible stuff. Like
Yeah.
some very uncomfortable things. I'll be honest. They
Mm-hmm.
kind of allude to that shift of you and I have discussed previously. Like there's a shift in something.
Oh yeah. You could feel it. It happened quite a while back.
Yeah.
But we're on the 3 hour mark, man. And I think I'm gonna wrap her up
Yep.
for tonight.
Absolutely, man. Yeah. Don't let me
I
my crazy shit.
I asked, no, man, let's love it. Just keep going. We could go on all night, but I don't think my back could take it. I got a pinched nerve in my lower back, and yeah, it's been giving me a fit.
I understand.
So
Hey,
if you
brother, I
my
understand
my
that.
squirming around is me just trying to get comfortable in this fucking chair.
I thought it was me, and I was hoping it was. No, I understand that I got some herniated discs I have problems with from time to time. So yeah, please, by all means, then, man. God.
Papa
Absolutely.
Papa C said his I can't remember what it was. He said his back was bothering him. He said catch it tomorrow. Yeah, I was like, man, yeah, my back's hurting too. Hey, I want
I
to
feel
thank
it, yeah.
I want to thank everybody who come into the house tonight to hang out and uh, give us some laughs, give us some ideas, give us your input. You're as much a part of this channel as anybody, and I want to thank you every night you guys are here, and my heart goes out to you. And Buck, thanks so much. This was guys. I want to tell you, last minute, me and Buck here talking, and he hits me with some stuff, and I'm like, oh shit. Dude, you got to come on the show tonight. It's last minute, man. And then he's like, yeah, I'll come on. I was like,
Yeah,
well,
sure. And I
fuck,
was like,
hell
well, I
yeah.
mean, I enjoy it. I mean, yeah, I absolutely enjoy it every time. So, man, I absolutely will. I mean, it's kind of like, yeah, sure. If I'm not doing something world beating, which is whatever, but I'm not usually, but I'll always be down to talk about it. And it's just funny because, yeah, just infrared, I was like, hey, I know a little bit about that. Not a lot, but some.
No, you know more than you think you know. But
I know. I probably haven't even. I probably didn't even touch on a lot of the stuff because I just forget about it. But because there's so much more about it and stuff. But it's one of those things. It's kind of it's kind of confusing almost. And had I not had previous experience having to learn about it and being in coursework and stuff, like I wouldn't know about it. It's just one of those things. It's kind of like it's one of those weird things. It should be more common knowledge because they should make it that way in our education system, but whatever. So
right.
it's kind of like you should know about this shit, but they don't care to. They'd rather teach other dumb shit. So whatever.
Well, it's kind of like in law enforcement, man. You go through basic, and you come out, and you take that and you just kind of pick over what they give you and apply what you need to apply to out here in the real world.
Shit. learn on the. It's like we call it learning on the job, and it's like I thought, why did I have to go through all this fucking training and all this other preparation then? Oh, I mean, you have an idea, I guess. I mean, yeah.
Rick, you asked if I ever been to Roanoke. Yeah, man. I mean, it's just next county over, Roanoke County and Roanoke City. Yeah, Roanoke, Virginia. Yep. And let me tell you, I ain't lost nothing in Roanoke. So I try to avoid that place like the plague. so the surrounding county is fine, but you go into the city, man. God Almighty, just now, nip. But yep, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, it has been a fantastic night. I've had a great time, and thanks again, Buck, for coming on.
Oh, hey, no
Bro,
problem. No
I
problem.
appreciate it. And Rick, I'm glad you're able to actually make a show this time. I went an extra hour just for you, pal. Because he works late. He don't get home till after midnight, and it's like, he's he's missing the shows. He wants, yeah. So, you guys, I've got something in the works. I'm gonna tell you now. I got something in the works. Couple of things actually, and I think you guys will be pleased with it. I'm doing I'm I'm getting ready to do a series. I may be a show short next week because I've got to throw a lot of research into this show. There may not be a show at all next week. Just throwing that out there because I'm throwing a lot of research into getting. I want to get my shit together for this because there's a lot of information I need to tackle, a lot of stuff I need to bring to y'all, and I'm also I'm putting together something else on the back burner. I've talked to a couple people now, and I got them on board without trying to give too much away. But like I said, I think you'll like it. Once things gets rolling, it might be 3 shows a week instead of 2. So there's that. And the way you guys participate, the Raven Clan here, Hiker X, I love it, Hiker X. Man, the Raven Clan, I love it. Love it. All right, everybody. Until next time, y'all take care of yourselves, watch your 6, and as always, I love you, mean it. Night now.